What's up, everybody? I'm EnviroBoy. This is my channel. It is Monday, and I don't know if anyone else is feeling it, but I am feeling like I did not have enough weekend today. I am tired, like sleepy tired. I am not thrilled about a work week. Oh, every single joint in my body is ready to crack and pop, and it's been a day. It's been a morning, but dang it, we're here. We're gonna turn some good stuff out of today. We're gonna avoid letting ourselves succumb to the basic habit of calling it a case of the Mondays, and instead try to make sure it's a good day. Um, yeah. I don't know. This is one of those days. You know, we all have those days, and that is what it is. Hey, how's it going, Orange Ink? You are early. You are here right at the get-go. Welcome. Glad to have you here. But yeah, no, it's been a slow day for me getting the engine revving, but it'll be good. It'll be good. We're gonna get some writing done. Getting that creativity going will always help a little bit. We're gonna do it a little differently today. We'll still do our usual warm up with like making magical items and stuff. Sorry, I'm accidentally turning on my my heated blanket here, and I definitely don't need that this time of year. At any rate, yeah, we're gonna do things a little differently. I have been extremely busy in life lately, between all kinds of different projects and responsibilities and stuff, and because of that, I have been falling behind a little bit in what I usually like to be for my session prep for the D&D game that I do run. And so normally I don't stream that one just because there's always the risk that my players will drop by while I'm streaming and spoil things. But you know what? They're adults, and if they're here, then they get what they get. Because I want to build up a bit more buffer. We're good to go for a few more sessions right now, but I don't have the same sort of future-proof buffer that I prefer to have when I'm running a game and when I'm planning one and writing one. So we're going to take some time. We're going to pause our project that we've been doing for our streaming, and we're going to work on that a little bit instead. So that way I can actually have time to catch up rather than sitting here and continually stressing about not having more stuff prepped and done. so that's what we're going to do today. And I think it's going to be a good time. I mean, let's see here. Hold on. Oh. There we go. Okay, sorry. Managing things. I'm not going to be good at multitasking today, I can guarantee that. So we'll try and keep it focused on one thing. But yeah, let's get into it. Let's do some writing. Let me bring us over to our live thing here. I need to make sure. Okay, yeah. We're good to go. Okay. So I am still gonna have us warm up with a magic item with a rune creation like we do. I do like that as a warm up, no matter what I'm working on, because it helps shake out the rust and the poo that sits in the brain and stops me from being clever enough to come up with things. So we're gonna start off with that, and then we'll go from there. So we're working on our level 6 abjuration spells, turning those into runes. And so we're going to see... Wait, hold on. What was the last one that we did? Last one we did was... Oh, yeah, that's right. Globe of Invulnerability. And I remember that because we were discussing the importance of shifting it from Globe of Invulnerability to Gob of Invulnerability, which I think just sounds absolutely hilarious. It's just a big pile of goo that makes you invulnerable if you wear it like a hat or something. I think that sounds great. Maybe a little 90s Nickelodeon, right? A little heavy on the slime factor there, but still amusing. But at any rate, we're not discussing gobs or globes of invulnerability. We're going to start something new. Let's see what our next spell is going to be here. Get our abjuration spells up here. On the 6th level, filter our spells. And let's see what is next. Guards and wards. Ooh, interesting. I'm not familiar with this spell. Oh, this is going to be a complicated one. This is going to be fun. We're going to have a lot to do on this one. I like it. I like it. All right. Guards and wards. Let's go ahead and grab all of our stuff here. Oh my gosh, it spazzed out on me a little bit there. Okay. Copy that. Up here. Guards and wards. And then go ahead and put in all of our stuff here. And this is going to take some doing. Look at all, man, look at all this stuff. This is great. This is great. We're going to have a lot of fun working on this one. All right, we need to make all of these bullet points here just like that. And perfect. Those will stay as beautiful. Okay. So let's see what this is all about. These do seem a bit complicated. Yeah, Magic in general is complicated. It's, but you know what? Like I say, it's fun. I kind of like the challenge of it. I think that makes things interesting. So, and truthfully, all we're doing is we're massaging the language as it's written, so that it can be used as a root as opposed to a spell. So it's not that hard. Oh, excuse me. Half of our edits really just kind of revolve around getting the grammar right, so that way it's more about a single item rather than a casting of a spell. So that kind of eases our task a little bit here. But let's see what we have. You create a ward that protects up to 2,500 square feet of floor space, an area 50 feet square, or 105. An area 50 feet square or 100 5-foot squares or 25 10-foot squares. Okay, got it. Warded area can be up to 20 feet tall and shaped as you desire. You can ward several stories of a stronghold by dividing the area among them, as long as you can walk into each contiguous area while you are casting the spell. Simple enough. The difference here, we just have to change this to the item creates a ward that protects up to 25,000 square feet of floor space. I'm going to change this also. We'll just say with the object at the center. So it creates this ward around it, and so you can pick the size, but it has to be revolving around having the item central to it, because it's just like creating a force field in essence. The warded area can be up to 20 feet tall, shaped as you desire. I think what I'm gonna do, excuse me, so here's what my immediate problem is with an item. It's going to, with an enchanted item, it's going to be much more static in what's cast when you cast it, which means it's going to be hard to have it be a malleable space in many situations. So I think what we're going to do here is we're going to change this a little bit. Area 50 feet square or 105 foot squares or 25 10-foot squares, as determined when the item is first imbued with the spell. So you're kind of creating a one thing, so you got to choose wisely, but that's like, I'm always fine with there being a lot of restrictions on these types of rune items, exactly because it's a powerful item for a non-magic user to be able to use, like a level 6 spell here at will. In essence, it's not really at will, it's like once per day, but still, it's like, you know, it's okay for there to be limits here because we're talking about just one specific item. So I think it works out okay. And so I think what I'm going to say is, I almost want to just get rid of this part. We'll say maybe the warded area can be up to 20 feet tall, but then shaped as you desire, we're going to get rid of that. In fact, I'm just going to change this warded area is 20 feet tall. So it will automatically create that. So you have to work with that limitation of the item. You can ward several stories of a stronghold by dividing the area among them, as long as you can walk into each contiguous area while you are casting the spell. I think I'm going to... We need to modify this a little bit. Honestly, I think we can just kind of get rid of this and just have the idea be that it creates a ward of an area. Make it a dome with a back door, just 2 foot tall circle. Yeah, there you go. Just like a little bubble, because that's the thing that's beneficial about this is you can have it be like a bubble that you walk around with. So, but yeah, I think I'm gonna get rid of this last part here, honestly. Not the 20-foot tall part, but the you can ward several stories of a stronghold by dividing the area among them. I'm just gonna let it be assumed that it creates a bubble or like a dome, like you're saying, a dome or a bubble that surrounds the item, and that's just how it works. I think that will serve just fine. When you cast the spell, okay, what I'm gonna say when you activate the item here. Activate the item. You can specify individuals that are... Okay, so what we're going to say, actually, we're going to say, instead of activate, say, when you enchant the item, you can specify individuals that are unaffected by any or all of the effects that you choose. You can also specify a password that, when spoken aloud, makes the speaker immune to these effects. That's the important part right there. As long as it has like a password or a keyword, then it doesn't matter that you make permanently immune people immune right when you first cast it. As long as there's a password, then you can just provide that. So I think that works out okay. Guards and wards creates the following effects within the warded area. Okay, I am going to tab this part. Oh, that one. I'm going to tab those ones just because I think that makes it much more, I don't know, the format's better. I like that formatting better. Corridors. Fog fills all the warded corridors, making them heavily obscured. In addition, at each intersection or branching passage, offering a choice of direction. Okay, I got it. There's a 50% chance that a creature other than you will believe it is going in the opposite direction from the one it chooses. Simple enough. So basically, you're just using this to create your own labyrinth. You have become the supervillain with your own labyrinth with this thing. I like it, and I actually kind of like the idea that you can put this item just like in the center of it and be like, activate, and then it just like gets a home security system. Doors. All doors in the warded area are magically locked, as if sealed by an arcane lock spell. In addition, you can cover up to 10 doors with an illusion equivalent to the illusory object function of the minor illusion spell. Make them appear as plain sections of a wall. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, instead of you can cover up 10 doors, we'll say, in addition, the item will... In addition, the item will cover up to 10 doors. 10 doors. 10 closest to where the item is located with an illusion to make them appear as plain sections of a wall. So it will always do that, and it will always choose the 10 closest doors. So if you've got like a magical corridor with like 30 doors, then, you know, it's not going to get all of them. It'll get the 10 closest ones, and that's just how it'll work. Yeah, I think that works out. Stairs. Webs fill all stairs in the warded area from top to bottom as the web spell. These strands regrow in 10 minutes if they are burned or torn away while the guard and wards lasts. Perfect. I think that one can stay exactly as it is. I think that's great. Perfect. Okay, so it does So it has, so these are things that it always has. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to place these ones all formatted that way, because then it looks like you can pick one of these. You can place your choice of one of the following magical effects within the warded area of the stronghold. In the warded area, let's see, I'm trying to figure out how to word this, because it's going to be you pick one when you enchant it, so it will always do those things. There's one of the following magical effects. We'll say, actually, we'll put it up front here. When imbuing the item, you can place your choice of one of the following magical effects in the area of the stronghold. So that way, it's like I say, I'm trying to make it as clear as possible. That like these things have to be decided when you're enchanting the item. You don't get to just sort of like choose, because the concept of magic, like the thing for me is magic is just sort of a sense of energy that kind of flows throughout the world, the same as like light or sound would. And when casting a spell, a magic user is using themselves as the conduit or the instrument to impact that flow of energy, which means it's easy for them to modify exactly how that spell comes into being, which is why they can sort of have variability with this. With an item, that item is the conduit that will impact the magic. And because the item isn't sentient or anything like that, it cannot change its nature and how it operates. So that's why I make these things so static, because it's like, the way I've described it in the past is, imagine jumping into a pool, right? You have a pool of water. If you are the one jumping in, you can change your shape to have an impact on the splash, right? You can cannonball, you can belly flop, you can dive, right? You can do all kinds of fun things to change how that splash takes place. You know, if you're like me when I was a kid, you will happily sacrifice yourself to belly flop as close to a bunch of people as possible to splash them all, because you're a little terror. I did many a belly flop, and I was always willing to... I was always, like, at least once per day, I was willing to sacrifice myself. I often didn't do more than once per day, but I would make the sacrifice to get an awesome splash, and I often won splash contests with that willingness. I don't know if I'd be willing to do it these days. Back in those days, I was much heftier than I am now, so I had a lot more padding to handle those things. These days, with all the kickboxing that I do, it's got a different composition, and I feel like it would be a much more impactful... Not like... I mean, the impact I would make would be smaller, so not only would I not have as likely a chance of succeeding in my goals, but it would hurt because I would not have the same padding, so... It's just a program that you can't change. Made it. Unless you break down the program thing. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the same concept, right? It's a different way of explaining the same basic idea, where it's like, if you have a magic item, like, it is the way it is. It has its properties. It's finished. You know, it's like, maybe another good explanation is like the carving versus the carver. When you're the one doing the carving on, you know, say, you know, a piece of marble or whatever, you know, a sculpting on a piece of marble, you have the ability to mold and change it. But once that sculpted item is finished, you know, it is what it is. It, like, that's just how it is. And there's not really, like, you can kind of change the item a little bit, but then when you change the item, you take away the nature that it is, you know, or that it was, to turn it into something else. So, like, you're changing the permanent nature of it. So that's another good way to explain it. What it all comes down to is, yeah, when an enchanted item is enchanted, that it stays that way forever. Versus if you have a spell, you can modify that spell a little bit. You know, another example I use all the time is like magic is like, casting a spell is like cooking, right? If you're a magic user and you're a person, you're a chef, and you can change the recipe a little bit, so you can modify the spells a little bit to have it be flavored how you want. Whereas the item is like the already crafted meal, right? And so it's like, the meal is what it is now. So unless you're like going to fundamentally change it again as the spellcaster, you can do that, but then you're going to be changing the nature of the meal. So yeah, so that's it's all kind of different ways to explain the same thing. And so at any rate, the reason I went off on that tangent, uh, if I try to refocus myself again, going on that tangent is because, for this other one, it's when imbuing the item, you can choose one of these things. So it's like you have to choose one of them, but that's it. So place dancing light in. We're going to say designate a simple program that the lights repeat as long as the guards and wards last. Okay, that's fine. But we're gonna say place dancing lights in the nearest 4 corridors, and we'll put this one as when imbuing. You can designate a simple program that the lights repeat. Inconsistent and changing magic and world is come from living things and souls. Yeah, I think that actually makes a lot of sense. Because like, I mean, it's kind of like I say, magic is an energy that's responsive to things, right? It's like kind of almost like, the concept of gravity, where it's like everything kind of can modify it. Magic tends to be a bit more modifiable by individuals than gravity, but we all have an impact on gravity. It may be negligible, but I have mass. Anyway, place magic mouth in 2 locations. Let's see here. In 2 locations, I'm gonna say, equidistant from the item, just to kind of clarify again. Place stinking cloud in 2 locations. Nice. The vapor appears in places you designate. Return within 10 minutes if dispersed by wind, while guards and wards last. We're going to say, again, in 2 locations, equidistant from the item. The idea is just that it's like, you can kind of decide, let's see here. We'll say they appear and they return within 10 minutes. Yeah, we'll do that one. But yeah, like the idea is that you place the item and then like, like within 2 areas, like almost mirror image, like going around in a circle or whatever, is where they'll form and everything. So, let's see here. Deciding something with players. So we're working on a project where we're taking the spells within the D&D 5e spellbook, and we are turning them into a rune system for my players or enemies to use. Like it's a system meant to make items more interesting rather than just having magical items be, a +1 sword of whatever or something like that. It's a way so that my players can have more customizability of their items, so that way they can just like come up with cool items rather than hoping they find one and then immediately ditching whatever cool item they already had because they found one cooler. I always find that to be super anticlimactic, especially if you have a player that's like they're themed in some way when they're making their character, right? Like the character is, supposed to be some sort of ninja that uses nunchucks or whatever, or they have like their grandfather's sword handed down to them and so on and so forth. It always feels like kind of a letdown to me when it's like, oh, but you have the opportunity to now do this +1 club, and it's like, well, I'm not gonna abandon the +1, right? And it's just, it feels like, if it just feels lame. So it's like, this is meant to be sort of a fun system that players can find runes, and then if they want to, use those to create their own magical items and stuff like that. It's a much more interesting and chaotic approach to D&D, which is always my personal favorite. I love some good chaos. But yeah, so that's kind of what we're working on. We're working on the guards and wards spell right now and kind of mollifying is a different word. Modifying it so that it makes sense as a rune. Yeah, exactly. It's very much inspired by the Pathfinder rune system. Just even more diverse than that one. But yeah, it's the same basic principle. Of just like, if you find these runes, you can place them on items, so you can have cooler, more interesting items rather than, like I say, just kind of hoping that you find an item that is close enough to your theme that you can call it good. I just always think that's so boring. Because the other thing that's fun about this too is I find it actually helps prevent players from like begging for specific items, right? Players will, because like some players, although I will say I've never really had issues with this with my players because it's just me and my buds playing. But some players will get really like excited and they're really they really want like they really want a specific item or something like that, and they'll like pester for it. And it's like, if I can provide this system, then actually I've noticed that people will pester less because they just get excited about looting and maybe finding a rune, and then they can start kind of crafting stuff that way, and it's, I don't know, it works out. Nice, yeah. Bring all your friends and family. The more the merrier. The more the merrier. So people can come in and see how bad I am at balancing things. I don't know. I've got a decent instinct for keeping things balanced. But I definitely have a philosophy and approach to good enough, because ultimately I'm just like, if it's fun, who cares how broken or chaotic it is? You know, you try and keep it so that it's not too broken, but the flip side of it is too, is it's like if something becomes too powerful, it's like, oh, well, if I know they have a really powerful item, we'll just give them more powerful enemies and it'll be fun. So, you know, it's fine. But yeah. How's it going? Oh man. Aeon Cow? I hope I'm saying that right. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. I'm so bad at pronouncing names. Alright, let's see here. Place a constant. Okay, so the next ones, we got the stinking cloud option there. If we want to do the gust of wind. Place a constant gust of wind in one corridor or room. So for this one, because we're making like a rune or an enchanted item, we're gonna say in the nearest corridor or room is what it'll do. Just cow works. Okay, that is much easier. I appreciate that. Okay, let's see here. Place a constant gust of wind in the nearest corridor or room. Yeah, perfect. I think that stays exactly how it is. Let's see here. Yeah, potato, tomato, you know, whatever. It's all whatever. Place hooked on phonics was never my thing. Oh, gotcha. Okay, nice. Very nice. That's awesome. Alright, place a suggestion in one location. You select an area of up to 5 feet square. Any creature that enters or passes through the area receives suggestion mentally. So we're going to change this one up because we're talking about an item. I don't want this to be... Like I say, it's like, it's not... That's right. That's right. No advertising. It's fine. I will not be swinging the ban hammer yet. Not for that. I reserve that for bots and for people who disagree with me on things that I like. So not really. All right. So what we're going to do with this one, instead of placing a suggestion in one location, because we're talking about an enchanted item, and if someone just has an item, you know, like they can activate it, but that item has to have, like the way I do it is it has to have much more permanent qualities. We were kind of discussing it a second ago. You know, it's not like the spell where you can just randomly change it. Octavius, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. Glad you're having a good time. Let's see here. So it's no fighting, no biting in there in chat. No fighting, no biting. Does anyone else remember that one? That was one of them little critters books. Anyone ever read those as a kid? Is that just me? I feel like I brought this up before and no one knew what the hell I was talking about. I don't know. Little critters. They were these little kids books. Oh, dang it. Octavius was a bot. Dang it. We should have known. We should have known all along. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. All right. Anyway. We're working on, Octavius, right now we're working on a system that I use for my players where I take the 5e spell book and I'm making a rune system out of it. So that way my players can have fun, exciting magical items rather than having every magical item be a potion or a +1 weapon of weaponing or whatever. So that's what we're working on right now. We're working on the spell Guards and Wards. For this last section, place a suggestion in one location. So it's gonna be it's not like you select it. What I think what I'm gonna do for this one is let's see here. Place a suggestion in the 5 foot square that the item occupies. That's what we'll do. And any creature that enters passes through the area receives a suggestion mentally. So if they walk through the area there, I'm not saying potions aren't fun. I'm just saying that it's like potions are the fun thing, and then everything else is just like, kind of a predictable item. This way, players can make their own unique things, and that way, because like okay, so here's where the inspiration from this came from. Actually, like I'll actually tell the story here, since y'all are sitting here wondering where this idea comes from. I know you are. The idea for this came from, like, this was a little while ago. I was watching the movie Kung Fu Panda. But it's a amazing movie. Everyone should watch that movie. If you haven't already, shame on you. But I was watching that movie, and it and there's the scene where Po goes into the temple, and there's all of the like legendary items, and he knows all about like the history of the item and who had the item, the sword or the vase of souls or whatever, things like that. It was all of the, like, he was in that room, and he was fascinated by all these items, and I was thinking like, and like, at first I was like, I wonder if I could just create a collection of legendary items for my players that have just much more fun, unique stuff going on, right? It's like, and so we could go about it that way. And then I thought to myself, I was like, what if the players could like be the ones in the past that used those items? So it's like the idea is that they're making the legendary items, so that way in generations in the future, like, their items are the legendary ones because they're the ones who created it. Like, they were the heroes who created the items, and everyone was all like amazed by those items and stuff. And I thought that was like the coolest concept, is like someone could throughout their adventuring career have their prized sword or their prized shield, and they're the ones that are modifying it as they need to, or as they want to, and creating their legendary item. And it's like, that's their claim to fame and stuff like that. Like, that's kind of what the idea came from, and I thought it was a great idea. And I'm the DM, so I did it because I can do what I want. Oh boy. But yeah, so that's like where the idea comes from. I want my players to have fun, unique items, rather than, reading through the book and saying, I want that item, and like treating it like a shopping trip. It's like, no. Legendary items aren't all about shopping. It's like you explore and you find this item in an abandoned, forgotten tomb or something like that. So now it's like, okay, all right, we'll split the difference. You still can't just go like, asking the DM for a magical item, but I will give you cool things so that you can make your own magical items. So that's where the idea comes from. And my players seem to like it, so I'm just going with it. And here we are now. And that was like a year ago I started the idea of it, and away we are. Away we go. So at any rate, yes, Guards and Wards. I think the spell effects work. I think we got them kind of figured out there. Yeah, the whole warded area radiates magic. Spell magic cast on a specific effect, if successful, removes only that effect. I think that can stay as it is. I think that's good. Let's see here. Man, you guys are just chatting away in there. I can't keep up, man. Any fighting class should get a magical item. I mean, it's like all kind of about the I mean, that's definitely part of it, but that's the fun part about the rune system too, is like it goes all the way down to basic cantrips, so you could in theory give them at level 1, and it's not like it's going to be super overpowered. They'll just have an item that can do a basic cantrip every now and then. So but yeah, no, it's a fun project. It's a fun project. My players seem to like it, so I'm going with it. Hey Gabby, how's it going? I am doing well, thank you for asking. So yeah, okay, Dispel Magic can remove an effect, and that's fine. You can create a permanently guarded and warded structure by casting the spell every day for 1 year. Instead of by casting the spell, we're going to say by using this item there. By using this item there every day for 1 year. So you can just like have the magical doorknob of guards and wards, and there it is. It's perfect. Scaffolding fell on your head. Well, good lord, I hope you get better soon. That sounds horrific. Okay, so that gets us our basic spells. Type of item it can enchant. This one's pretty straightforward. It can be placed on any item. That's an easy one. Magic doorknobs. I would love for all of my doorknobs to be magical. Can you imagine how whimsical your home would be if every doorknob was magical? Like, especially if it was random magical effects, too. Like, oh man, what door are we opening today? I don't know. I hope it's the bathroom this time. Oh, boy. How's it going, Managora? Good to see you. Let's see here. Yeah, I would love a magical doorknob. That would be fun. Okay, can be placed on any item, especially doorknobs. Boom, there, it's canon. No, I'm not going to do that. But yeah, so this can be placed on any item. I think that's great. Some basic mechanics, how it's cast. This one's just a straightforward one, as with most of them. It's just when command word is spoken and the item is held. That's just kind of the basic of how the basics of how I like to do everything. You know, some items will have like specific things, particularly if we're creating like a rune that goes on like a weapon or something like that. A weapon or a piece of armor sometimes will make it like reactionary and it'll automatically do stuff. But as the baseline, it's like, yeah, you hold the item and speak the command word, kind of like casting a spell, only it's with the item. So, Magic Door to Hogwarts, if only. If one could only hope that such a whimsical world would exist and we could find ourselves there. Boy, oh boy, that would be awesome. Doorknob that sparks when you open the door. That sounds like a gag from Home Alone. All right, let's see here. Range. It's kind of like read the spell. I don't know. It's all written in there. I'm not reiterating it. Duration. What is the duration of this one? We'll just hold it as written. 24 hours. Perfect. Duration. Boom. 24 hours. There's no real attack or save involved in this one. You just cast it, so we can get rid of that one. Imbibement type. This is going to be an active type because you have to activate it. It's not a passive type of thing. So active. There we go. Boom. Basically spells which you need components. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's this item, you use the components to enchant the item rather than to cast the spell, and it works out pretty well. Like I say, it gives players a lot of fun stuff there. I don't think we need any additional notes for this one. So that's good. So now let's take a pause. We got to go back up here, and I got to come up with an example item. I always like doing an example item for two reasons. One is it helps me, you know, if I come back to this months or years later, you know, when I come back to it, a lot of times it can be really easy to forget what the hell I was talking about. So I try to give myself an example so that way I can like refer to the example, like, oh, that's what I was interested in. That's what I was thinking. The other thing that's fun about it too is then I can, if I have an example item, I can place that item in the world, and it can be something fun for my players to find if it's not something that they're going to end up enchanting themselves. So a good example item. I think what I want to do with this, you know what? Here's where we're going to do our doorknob. We're going to do, we're going to make up, okay, so also one thing that I do is we have, so, oops, I didn't mean to move it. I just wanted to go to it. I have made myself some consistency notes to make sure that everything is consistent for myself here. And so when we're talking about a level 6 spell that we're turning into a a rune like this, I consider these items to be like world famous level items here. So these items are truly the items of legends. They are the beloved items of world fame, owned by champions known the world over. They strike fear and awe in the hearts of those who encounter them. Wars have been ended by the stroke of a weapon of this stature, and sometimes the power of the gods themselves is invoked with them. Invoked with an item like this. So these are pretty powerful items, pretty unique items, kind of like one-of-a-kind type things. Excuse me. So when we're working on this, for an example item, my immediate thought here is I want to do the doorknob thing. And I want to do, what I'm going to do is we're going to come up with a guy, King Harold's, I don't know, warded, here's what we're going to call it, warded castle. So here's what we're going to do with it. Notoriously, paranoid, not for unfounded reasons as a king, King Harold, simple name, King Harold. It's such a non-fantasy name right there. It's Harold. Yeah, the item, so like I wanted to have the item rankings be kind of be like, I wanted it to be based off the levels, because like obviously a level 9 spell isn't going to be the same as a level 1 spell, but I wanted to make sure that I was being consistent with things as I went along and was writing different things, because it can kind of be easy to not always like remember how rare or how powerful you made and a level 5 spell when the last one you did was like 3 or 4 months ago. So I kind of created that system just to make sure that I'm holding consistency within my homebrew world. It's not really based off anything other than my emotions when I was writing the system up in general. So, take it with a grain of salt, but it seems to work out pretty well. Harold the Duck, yes. What a wonderful King Harold the Duck. His castle was a nest. His nest was his castle. Okay, let's hear. Notoriously paranoid, for not unfounded reasons as a king, King Harold insisted upon keeping his castle warded so that any intruders or assassins, I love the word assassin because it has ass in it twice. Just a fun little tidbit about me, if anyone was wondering. Oh boy. Let's see, so that any intruders or assassins would be unable to navigate his home. In reality, it was a single, which is what we're gonna do. It was the doorknob to his bedchamber that was enchanted, or that was imbued with the spell. Okay, in reality, it was the doorknob to his bed imbued with the spell, which spanned most of his castle within the area. Boom, there we go. Okay. Oh, okay, Cal, we got a wall here. Hold on, give me a second. Let me read and catch up. Power of any particulars being power of reputation. I don't know about your magic special powers. Powers and the same thing can happen to items. Which creates an item power of... Oh, that's interesting. That's an interesting concept. It kind of makes me think of not really. I guess not really, because like it sounds like that system you gain powers as opposed to having them that are reputation based. But that makes me think kind of like my immediate thought when it comes to reputation mechanics is Legend of the Five Rings, where it's like your reputation is very tightly tied to your class, which impacts what you're able to do in a lot of situations, because it's a very it's meant to be a class based system, and you use your class and your then the society that you're part of to help achieve goals. Like someone who's lower class can like have an easier time working with like the criminal underbelly versus someone who's like an aristocrat. So that's what it makes me think of. It's kind of different because it's more so like the difference between the two seems like it's cause and effect is sort of the difference, right? Where it's like your reputation causes your powers as opposed to your reputation being an effect of the powers. But it's an interesting twist, and I like that. I'll have to try and remember to look that up at some point. It's interesting. But there we go. So there's Harold's doorknob. Sometimes I like to go through, and I had kind of talked about it before. Sometimes I like to go through, and once I've created an item like this, I like to kind of plant it in my world and give some lore. But I'm gonna bypass that this time. Because I've got other stuff I want to work on today, and I don't want to take up too much time on this. And we still have a few more things to do here, because we're not done with this enchanted item. No. We still have more things to do. So part of this system is I've created like an enchantment and an imbibement and imbuing system so that my players can go about doing these imbibements themselves. Again, sort of on the principle of even if you're not necessarily a magical user, you have the rune, and that's what has the magic within it. So your job is to then just like put the rune into, you know, the magic of the rune onto the item. So even if you're not a magical user, if you follow like the recipe or the instructions properly, you can still do it. Kind of like someone who, even if they're not a chef, if they follow a recipe properly, they can still sort of create dinner. You know what I mean? So that's kind of the idea. And so part of that includes if they do a really good or a really bad job, they have the chance to create the item, create a sentient item with it or a cursed item with it. And I always love kind of creating the systems for that. So that's the next step. Do I have any open campaigns? Yes, I do run a campaign, but I don't stream the campaign because the campaign has been with friends and it's been running much longer than I've been streaming. And one of the things that I really don't want to do is change the nature of how our games go by suddenly putting them on camera when we haven't done that before. Because even if you think that it's not going to change how you act or how you behave, the decisions you make, it will. It will 100% change the way people play their characters, the way people play the game, if they know they're being watched while doing it. So I don't stream that game, and that's the only game that I'm running right now. I'm not opposed to ever starting a new game to stream, and I've thought about that, and that may happen one day. But the one game that I'm running right now, I don't stream it. But we are going to be working on the campaign that I'm running for that game, because usually I try to avoid doing too much working on that on stream, just because if my players ever stop by, I don't want them to be like, I don't want them to have stuff spoiled. But my life is super duper busy and I'm falling behind on campaign prep, so we're gonna do it anyway, and they're just gonna know that, you know, if they get spoilers, like if they come in and they have things spoiled, then they're just gonna have to work really hard to not use meta knowledge while they're playing the game. That's they're adults, they'll figure it out, it'll be fine. Yeah, it absolutely does. It absolutely changes the nature of how things are run. Because like there are two things that I've noticed and I feel like would definitely change about it. One is just sort of the natural flow of how we converse, right? Like we tend to go off on asides with lots of like inside jokes and stuff like that. Whereas if you're streaming it, there's the tendency to either forget that you're streaming, and it doesn't change the nature of things, but then people don't care for it because it's just you and your friends ribbing and stuff like that. Or you guys, like, the natural flow of being friends changes because you're trying to present a show, right? And that changes how we're all interacting with each other. And the other thing that changes about it too is suddenly you're open to criticism, which isn't necessarily a bad type of thing. You know, it can be good and it can be helpful and productive if people point out when something isn't by the rules or when something isn't by the lore or something like that. It can be helpful, but when it's just you and your friends playing a game, that's really not what you're interested in, right? It's like I recognize a lot of times that I break the rules or I abandon the rules and ditch out on them. But it's because I'm playing with my friends, and it's like, you know what, they had a cool idea, and I think it's a better time if that did work. you know, and so you can do stuff like that. And so like I'll let it fly, even if it goes against the rules, or even if it, you know, even if it means I have to ditch out on a you know, on requiring a dice roll that I might normally require, all that kind of stuff. And so so yeah, you know, I would even start a new game with that exact same group, but I would insist upon us still having our usual games without it being streamed, because for me as well, as someone who does a lot of streaming and is the DM and does a lot of writing, the chance to just play the game with my friends is like the stress relief of all the stuff, right? Like if I didn't have that opportunity to just like goof around with my friends within a D&D setting, it would add a lot more stress, and I wouldn't have a way to just like flat out enjoy the game. So so yeah, I don't know. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Real long explanation behind it. I'm not opposed to ever streaming a game, but I presently do not stream it. But I do run one. I've been a DM for, golly, it's like the better part of 10 years now of my life I've been a DM. It's weird to think that I've been DMing that long, but you know, you become a forever DM, and time ticks by. Sunrise, sunset, all that stuff. I'm getting old. Anyway, what happens to this item if it becomes sentient? So, I like the concept of sentience to revolve around, like I have the sentience kind of revolving around if, like the alignment scale, the alignment charts, right? That 9 squared chart there where you have like your good, evil, lawful, chaotic, and stuff like that. I like to do that, and I just randomly roll on it because I figured you were just wondering. I get a lot of people asking about that, and like I say, maybe someday. So you know, stay tuned and see what happens. But as of right now, nothing is planned. Nothing is planned. But yeah, oh, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. I'm glad you're having a good time with it. I'm really happy to hear that. I'm happy that people are enjoying this stuff. I don't know. Like I say, I've been DMing long enough that people actually have questions and I have answers to them nowadays. Like I'm turning into a more experienced DM, and that's weird for me to think about because I'm just some asshole who kind of makes stuff up half the time. But hey, here we are. At any rate, so with the sentience, I use the alignment charts, but I don't use it like, how to explain this? It doesn't impact whether the sentient item is helpful to the person using it, right? So I consider that like sentience versus cursed, like I consider those kind of like two ends of the spectrum in terms of how helpful or harmful to the owner or the user that item is. If it's a sentient item, it's an item that wants its owner to be successful, right? It wants, like, even if it's a selfish item, it recognizes that it's like whoever owns it, whoever's using it, their success is its own, because the item will like recognize that it is an inanimate object that requires a user for it to do anything. So it always wants to help. So if it's good, basically what I do is it's an item that is like, it will do something extra beneficial for the owner, whereas if it's evil, it will do something that's extra dickish to the target, right? So it's like if you have an item, like if you have a weapon, right, like a sword that has some sort of magical effect and it's sentient, if it's good, it will like help the owner pick a target, or it will help the owner know what enemies are particularly weak to it, or something along those lines, right? Like it does something extra for them. Whereas if it's evil, it'll do something extra dickish to the enemies, in the sense of it'll do some sort of extra damage, or it'll have an extra status effect, right? So it's like the difference between good and evil is, does it build up the owner or cut down enemies, right? Either way, it's still helping the owner. But you know, it just, how it goes about that is different. Same with the lawful and chaotic. Lawful, the way I try to do it is in opposition to chaotic. Chaotic is easier to conceptualize. Chaotic is basically, it has a wider range of effect, but it kind of disperses that effect a little bit more, right? So that is, so like if there's an area of effect where it's like, oh, and it'll do X amount of damage within, you know, 20 square feet or within a 10-foot radius or whatever. It's like if it's chaotic, it'll be like, we'll up that to a 15-foot radius, but we'll take off, like if it does 3d6 damage, it only does 2d6 damage, right? So it's like it's a wider range, or it's a broader effect, but it's a little less intense. Whereas Lawful, just sort of in opposition, it's very focused and very specific in what it does. So it narrows its focus a little bit. It narrows its range of effect, but it's a bit more powerful in what it does. So this one's going to be kind of a tricky one because this is such a big range of effects. So this is going to be kind of tricky to think about what just a simple, straightforward impact for any of these are going to be. But damn it, I'm not afraid of a challenge, so we're going to figure this one out. We're going to do it. Can't stop me. Also, I'm the DM, and what I say goes, so haha. Sorry, I got a little power trippy there. Let's see here. So if it's sentient, if it's a good item, if it wants to build up, or if it wants to help in some sort of extra way, up to 20-foot floor space, enchanted item, you can specify individuals that are unaffected. That's pretty straightforward. I don't know if there's a way to increase that one at all. I almost want to say if it's sentient, it'll... Well, you know what? I have a different idea. I was going to say maybe it can do extra effects within these other spell effects, but I have a different idea for that. So we're going to come back to that concept. I think what I want to do for this one, if it's good, is I think we're going to add an effect. We're going to add an almost like an alarm spell effect where it says, if, let's see here. We'll say, item is alert to who is in its area of effect and where they are within it. The item will warn the owner if... Actually, no, we're just going to say to who is in its area of effect. We're going to do that. And we're going to say the item will warn the owner if someone enters the area of effect. We'll just do that. I'm noticing also... Oh boy, I am dropping a lot of frames right now. Oh, that's a lot of dropped frames right now. Alright, I don't know. I have no idea if anything. I'm gonna send a message here. I'm gonna drop a message just so that people in chat can see. I'm noticing I'm dropping a crazy amount of frames right now. I am going to reset the stream really quickly. I have an idea on how I can fix that. But it seems like it's not fixing itself this time around. Sometimes these issues will fix themselves. Oh wait, maybe it's fixed itself. All right, hold on. Okay. All right, it looks like it fixed itself. It heard me threatening. It heard me threatening to reset it. So, all right, hopefully things are a bit smoother. Let me know if I'm wrong and if things are still poor quality. I have a few tricks that I can try and use to smooth things out if we need to. But it looks like we're good to go. So just give me a heads up. Stream is fine. Okay. All right. I noticed I was dropping a lot of frames. But it looks like we're done with that. So if it starts up again, I can try a couple things. It just requires that I reset the broadcast. So it would be dead air for a few seconds to do it, but it looks like we're good to go. Anyway, yes, if it's good. The item will warn the owner if someone enters the area of effect. I think that's great. I think that can be just exactly as it is, and we can leave it that way. Yeah, because that's actually a pretty powerful extra benefit. Saw no lag or poor quality. Oh, okay, so maybe OBS is just lying to me. Well, hey, great. Now I just sound like a crazy person. I mean, let's be real. I am a crazy person. The secret was going to get out anyway, so now we've just sort of expedited that process of everyone going like, oh, this guy's out of his mind. Got it. Oh, boy. Boy, gotta love it. Gotta love technology, right? Because that's such a wonderful thing that really just turns us all into schizophrenic, neurotic nightmares. Boy, oh boy. Although I'm not going to sit here and act like time was better as, like, cavemen. Not that I would know from experience. I think I got away with it. I think they don't realize that I'm a man from Earth. But, like, you know, like, it's so easy to be all like, oh, back in the good old days. Except, like, back in the good old days, people died at, like, 50 of old age. And, you know, we didn't have nearly the amount of entertainment. People were addicted to work, not because they had bad bosses or anything, but because there's literally nothing else for them to do, right? Like, life is definitely better than it is nowadays. Not to say that we don't have problems, but I don't know. I'm gonna get off this soapbox before I spend all day on it. Evil item. I think what I want to do for this one is item is particularly averse to intruders. I wanted to do something extra to the people there. Let's see here. Causes an air of confusion in any intruders that cuts their movement speed in half as they try to navigate the navigate the warded area. So that's the type of thing where it's like, as a general rule, that might not do a whole lot, but if someone has a warded area and then they like enter combat with whatever enemy is within that warded area, then suddenly that can be a pretty big advantage in terms of just like if they're using that ward as a way to like, quick, get to the escape pod, and then, you know, dash off or whatever. So I feel like that could still be beneficial. And if it's not, then oh well, then they just have an item that makes comments about how horrible everyone else is. If it's two of those things, then it has both of those benefits, and the chaos reigns. Is always what my idea is. Because like the other thing that's fun about this system here is the way I run it with my players is if they start having, say, multiple enchantments or anything like that, if they have multiple impacts on the same area or like on the same item or something like that, or if you have complex mixes and matches like this, we kind of make it malleable, and I'll work with the player to kind of figure out what would happen if you blended the two. You know, it's like, what happens when you mix blue and red, you get purple, right? What happens when you mix two effects? Well, then we kind of get a mixture, which is kind of fun if someone, you know, and it kind of makes it interesting if someone wants to try and mix, like, say they have a weapon and they want to, like, mix some sort of water effect and some sort of electricity effect. It's like, oh, then those things might multiply and it'll make it even more powerful. Whereas if someone has a sword and they try to put like fire and ice damage, maybe they counteract each other, right? And that's kind of the fun part about it. But yeah, it's like, it's really meant to be a system that's all about the DM playing, you know, working with the player so that you guys can come up with these like super awesome, unique items. And the other thing about it too is, like, for anyone who's not already aware, I say this like every stream because it's true, and there's always people like, I feel like it's just such a good indicator of why I make the decisions that I make as a DM and as a world builder. I love chaos in my games. The more insane everything is, the happier that I am. Like, not in the sense of like, oh, I'm doing chaotic stupid, I'm gonna just randomly try and stab the king. It's like, no, that's a pain in the butt. But like, when we're talking combat, like if we've already established that we're in combat, I love it when there's like 7 different area effects going on, 3 people are possessed and attacking their own teammates. You know, there's like some people like that are flying and swooping down and bombarding everyone. There's like a mole jumping up from under the ground, right? You know, it's like there's ships off in the distance firing cannons at everyone. The more insane everything is, the happier I am. Like, I revel in the absolute insanity. It makes me so happy. That's just what I like. I like doing that. The anything else is just a placeholder I put there as a reminder to myself to think if there are any other factors. I almost never put anything there. It's just, I always put something like that in there in a lot of these templates that I have for myself. See, like I have any additional notes here or there too. I just do that as a reminder to myself that, like, think about everything, because some items may not necessarily fit exactly within the format or the template that I made. So that's just a placeholder. I'll probably delete it. I almost never do it. But yeah, I love the chaos, and it makes me happy. So anything that can promote more chaos in my games, that's good stuff right there. So, okay, so if this thing is lawful, my thought here is, let's see here. The item is very particular about the space that it occupies. Here's what I kind of want to do about this. If used in the open, will sharply demark its area of effect. If in an enclosed space, will limit its effects to the building in question. So it's like the item itself, because it's a sentient item now, it can make some decisions. And so if you use it out in the open, it'll just be like, okay, were you doing this area? But if you use that item and you're like, I need, like, because you need to ward this building, this castle or this dungeon or whatever, the item will, like, very specifically do it within that building. Which, again, may not result in a whole lot, but I could see that being kind of an interesting specification that may be, like, helpful or harmful to the player depending on the exact situation, which, again, just adds to the chaos and just makes it fun. Whereas chaotic, so my thought about this one is, okay, here's what my thought is for chaotic. This is, okay, I think this is going to be good. I think this is going to be funny. Area of effect is increased to what was it? It's 2,500 square feet. So we're gonna make that 3,000 square feet. This is gonna be a nice big area. 3,000 square. You know what I'm gonna do? Well, no, and I can't because this isn't Word, so I can't do like superscripts and subscripts. 3,000 square feet. The item sometimes gets confused and thinks enemies are allies. Allies that are immune to the effects. Like, because you know how it has like the password or something like that. So sometimes the enemy gets really confused. Like, it tries really hard, but it gets confused. And what I'm going to do is, for every enemy, roll 1d20 on a... I need to capitalize this, otherwise it's going to bother me. I need to do it for this one too. In fact, we don't even need that in parentheses. It's going to be a part of it. Roll 1d20 on a natural 20. The enemy is immune to the effects. Enemy only gets one try, and the results are permanent. Permanent. There it is. Permanente. Good lord, I'm struggling with spelling right now. So it's like it might get confused and it might let in an enemy. And once it happens, it's like permanent. And really, that's more so as of a way to make sure that, like, I can't have the opportunity. Like, I wouldn't do it as the DM, but like it's meant to make sure that there isn't the opportunity for someone to just like keep trying, be like, oh, nope, still affect, out, and then back in, out, nope, still affecting, out, and back in, not still affecting, out, back, out, there we go, now we're good, right? It's like, you don't want to do that. It's like, once you go in, it's like your identity is programmed into the item, and so it'll remember who you are, and it'll be like, okay, do you actually, do you get the immunity or not? And then it's there. The only way to circumvent it is if you are the owner, and you can, like, explicitly state it one way or another, right? You could point out to the item and be like, no, that guy's a bad guy. It's like, oh, he's a bad guy. And they'll do that because it's a sentient item. It can think. But until it's been clarified for it, it's just like, oh no, I thought that guy was a friend. My bad. He just seemed really nice. He seemed really nice, and he had this wonderful pamphlet about, you know, the good news. So I thought he was allowed in. I mean, why wouldn't we allow someone in a nice sharp shirt and tie? And like, could it be something that, hey everyone, yeah, it's like the crier when you're at like one of those old time, you know, like Victorian era parties where they announce you, now announcing the Duke of Kingenborough, Lord Dude Man, and his wife Lady Dude Man. And it's like, that's what it does every time. It just serves as a town. It serves as the crier for the for the party. I like that. All right, so there's our effects if it's sentient. Now we have to talk about if the item is cursed, which I think is a lot of fun. I love talking about cursed items, because the way I do cursed items, it's not just like, oh, you've touched a cursed item, you're stuck with it. Like, that's not necessarily the way things are. The way I like to do it is a cursed item will have an extra powerful benefit, but also will have a drawback. And the idea is I want the item to be something that someone is still enticed to use and is willing to risk the negative side effects is always the goal, right? Because like with a cursed item, especially something like this where it's like you have to intentionally activate it. Like, I don't like it when a cursed item is just like all bad, because then they'll be like, oh, all right, well, I guess I just won't use it. And then it's done. Like, I want them to like think about like, oh, is this worth it to use? Right? So it's like a sword that does extra damage but like draws damage or draws health from you in order to do the extra damage or something like that, right? Like, I like doing stuff kind of like that so someone can kind of think to themselves, is this going to be worth it? Am I going to be really screwed over if I use this, or is it worth that risk? So for this one, this is the one where I'm going to say, so the extra powerful benefit, the item is an exceptional ward and can produce all of the, quote, other spell effects. This is where I said we'll come back to that. When activated. So it does that. So the problematic side effect that I'm thinking is there's a very good chance that it will impact the user and their allies, or that oh, maybe it could just be like it does not discern, it only protects the good guy, right? Or like it only protects the user, right? It doesn't care about the user's allies or anything like that. So it's like if you are, even if you have like a passcode or something like that, it doesn't matter. So it's like someone might use this in an emergency, but then for 24 hours, everyone but them is warded in that situation, and that could be a problem. That's right, the crier. The crier. It's yeah, again, we have the chaotic stupid item, and it just sort of randomly ruins everyone's plans. But yeah, I'm thinking, I kind of like the idea of this item only discerns between the owner and other beings. There is no password and no other permitted individuals. So it's like you can use that like in an emergency situation, but everyone's going to be lost when you do that. So it's like someone, you know, particularly a very selfish villain, excuse me, might actually really like that item. They're fine with their lackeys, their henchmen, you know, being left out to dry. But I like that idea. I think that one works. Well, I don't know. I'm just trying to think about if the benefit of that is good enough that someone would be willing to take that risk. Because I'm trying to think about if there's a scenario in which like a good person would still want to try and use it, right? They might just know that it's not there and never use it. And again, that defeats the purpose of it. Excuse me. So, let's see here. I think I do want to come up with something different. The negative side effect. Oh, you know it could be kind of fun. The item is inconsistent in duration. Roll 1d20. Roll 1d20. Here's what we'll do. 1d20 plus 4. Plus 4. The result is the number of hours that the spell lasts. So it's like you could get up to your 24 hours, or you could get less. Do your favorite impressions of the runes from now on. But excellent. You can be the we'll start taking your quotes as the flavor text for when they discover the item. So let's see here. The results. I'm gonna put one other caveat here. This should be done by the DM so that the user doesn't know. They don't know how long it lasts. I actually kind of like that idea. Because, like, what if you roll a 1 and you only get 5 hours? And you think you have 24 hours of protection, then all of a sudden you're in deep doo-doo when it wears off. I like that. Okay, so what it takes to remove. I kind of was revamping this a little bit. So pretty much all of them is... oops, not on that one. That's our template, and we need to be able to stick to that one. We need... Here we go. Must be removed magically if the owner tries to abandon the item. The item will self-cast, treating the owner like an enemy to try and trap them within the area. You know what I also want to do here? If the player manages to escape the area of effect anyways, the object will permanently object will permanently activate against it will permanently activate where it was left, leaving the area forever warded. So it's like if they leave it at home and like they intentionally do that and they like ditch it, then it's like the home is just, it's warded forever. Like that's just it until you can remove the item or something like that. I kind of like that idea. Or if they do find it and they grab it, they're always going to be walking around in a warded area. I kind of like that. I think that works. Oh, excuse me. Oh boy. I think that works. This one's a little vague, but I'm okay with that. Since it's all about working collaboratively with your players and all that. I think it works. I think it works just fine. I like this. Wow, that's a complicated spell to turn into a rune. But you know what? It works and I like it. I just like this system. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. Okay, I really need to run to the bathroom, so I'm going to do that very quickly. It'll take me just like a minute or two because I'll probably refill my drink when I get up. So I'm gonna go to the bathroom, and then when I come back, I'm gonna have a switch gears and do some actual like world building. We're gonna work on my campaign a little bit. So sit tight. I appreciate your patience. I will be back very shortly. Alrighty. I'm back. Obviously. Kind of goes without saying, doesn't it? Oh boy. Alright, let's see here. Level neutral cursed rune. Password teammates, says password. Right, but I'm sorry, I can't let you in anyway. I'm afraid I can't do that. What is that, going full Space Odyssey on us? I'm afraid I can't do that. Alright. Let's see here. Let's go ahead and switch gears and let's do some world building. And we're going to, like I say, we're going to change it up a little bit. We've been working on an ongoing campaign project for quite some time, actually. We've been working on that campaign, the same campaign on stream for like, golly, it's got to have been like a year at this point in time. We've been doing it for so long. Because I write big campaigns. I write big campaigns and I write them as modules. Like I'm not a DM who plans each session after the last session. Like I like to know where the story is going. I write a module with an intended story and an intended goal for players to complete. That's just my style. You know, it's not that one way is better than the other. That's just how I do it. And a lot of that is because I first got into D&D and everything. And in fact, like really what it is I was a world builder before I played D&D ever. I got into world building in high school, and I didn't have my first experience with like D&D until college. So my mind is always just about building a world. That's just what I do. So I like to have things all planned out, which means I write big campaigns and all that kind of stuff. I really don't like reactionary planning because when I do that, I don't write as good of stuff for my players. It's just not as good. Some people are excellent at writing campaigns that way, at sort of like responding to what the players do and then kind of creating the next step and letting it kind of just turn into what it's going to turn into. But for me, I can't do it that way. So we've been working on the same campaign for a long time, but my life has gotten very, very busy as of late, with like extra responsibilities. My job keeps me very busy. I have, in fact, tomorrow I won't be able to stream because of my job. So that's like kind of a bummer for me, but it's like my job is very busy. I have now, on top of then streaming and all that kind of stuff. And then I also have now recently taken a position as being the fundamentals coach at my kickboxing gym. Yeah, my kickboxing. Geez, I'm like Squirrely Dan over here. But like I've got all these things going on, and it's becoming more and more difficult for me to find time to do the amount of writing for my campaign that I normally would do. So because it's my stream and I can do what I want, we're going to work on that campaign right now. We're going to pause the other one because the other one's not one that I'm running. It's just one that I wanted to make because it seemed like a fun project to do. And people were having fun watching me write a campaign on stream. But we're going to switch gears. The other reason, too, that I don't normally write my game that I'm running on stream is because if my players ever stop by, I don't want them to get spoilers. But I guess, if any of you guys are out there, I don't believe anyone's in the audience. Hold on, let me see. I don't see any of them. But if they are watching, watch at your own, spoiler alert, watch at your own risk. I expect you to behave and not use meta knowledge if you are here watching, getting insider information. Okay. None of this stock market cheating nonsense with our D&D game. You will respect the sanctity of the game. I don't know. No, I think it's gonna be fine. But yeah, I want to get some more work done. I'm not in dire straits yet, but I'm just having a hard time keeping up with my usual pace. So that's what we're gonna work on today. It's hard to metagame if your memory sucks. Yeah, that's true. That's true. If you just have garbage memory, then that's good to go. And that's kind of one of the benefits. We're not writing, so like we play Monday nights, so we have a session later on today. I'm not writing today's session. That one was written a long time ago. We're writing what will start coming up in at least a few weeks, if not like over a month from now. So we're building enough of a buffer that we might be okay. So let's see here. It looks like I'm Still, like, it's still showing me that I'm dropping frames. Let me know if I'm dropping frames and if I'm frozen up. It's acting like I'm really dropping them like crazy right now. And it's got me a little concerned here. It's gotten me a little stressed out. 'Cause I don't like seeing it act like we're dropping frames like this. I don't want to, like, it's like, what's the point, right? If I can't be, if what I'm doing isn't like visible to everyone. But let's see here. Still being crazy. All right. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and say I maintain that it's OBS that's being crazy here. All right, that's what I'm gonna say, because it's showing me that I'm dropping frames. It's got me in the red for dropping frames. But if it's not happening, then we'll trust it. But golly, this program is gaslighting me so hard right now. Not cool. Not cool. God damn it. Computers, I love you, but also stop ruining my life. Okay. So we're going to work on my campaign that I'm running for my players. This is going to be fun, actually. I'm actually kind of excited about this. I can actually share, it's like, screw it. We're going to share what we're doing. And hell, if this works out well, and if it doesn't seem to be ruining, the secrecy of the game for my players because they're not coming in so often, then we'll maybe just keep working on this project, and I'll just like two birds, one stone it, and maybe actually have more time to just like sit and watch a TV show for a change in my life. I haven't had time to sit and do nothing in months. So, not that it's really a complaint. It's pretty much all good, fun stuff that keeps me busy, but boy, oh boy, I'm busy. Yeah, I think what I've noticed is sometimes it's accurate and sometimes it isn't. But I've noticed that sometimes I think my VPN confuses OBS sometimes. I think if my VPN causes like a bit of a buffer, OBS views that as it being like as frames being dropped is what I think happens. And I think sometimes it's accurate, so I still pay attention to it. But other times I think it's just going crazy. So, I don't know. Computers are complicated, and I barely understand them. So, we're gonna move on and not try to unravel these mysteries. Because this is my first time working on this campaign on stream, I'm going to take a moment to just kind of give the rundown of what's going on with it. So let me pull up a couple maps here. Let me open up. Actually, hold on. We're going to go ahead and open up our world map. And then, let's see here. What we'll do. We have it here. We're going to go ahead and do. Okay, we're not actually doing this one, but I need a separate window open. And WonderDraft is kind of weird about opening windows. But what we'll do is we're going to switch this one. This is the one we've been working on. Instead, I want to pull up this one right here. This is our, okay, that's our city. Don't I have a region map? Hold on. I'm going to get one more open. Get one more open one. Where am I? What's happening? Let me organize my stuff here. It'll make it a bit easier for me. Again, it doesn't really matter. Let's just open up another one here, and then now open. Yeah, see, this is how little time I've been able to spend. I don't even remember what I've like titled all my maps and stuff. Then we must need. This is the one. Yeah, this is the one I was thinking of. Okay, great. Perfect. Now we got all the maps open that I want open. So let's start here. The biggest overview view that we can have. This is my world. This is the world of Zaoria. Some days I like the name of this world, and other times I look at it, I'm like, oh gosh, what a silly name, Zaoria. But I've been working on this world for like at this point in my life, in some ways over a decade. Because there are things that I have written like from almost 15 years ago that exist within this world. So in some ways, like I didn't conceptualize it as a single world until much later, but in some ways I've been working on this world for like since I was in high school. So it's kind of at that point where it's like, even on days when I don't like the name, I'm like, oh gosh, what a dumb name, but I'm not changing it because it is what it is. So at any rate, this is my world of Zaoria, and now you can see how self-conscious I am about my world. But It's my baby. I love this world. I've put so much heart and soul into it, and I continue to do so on a daily basis. Um, it is a post-apocalyptic world. So the way I always describe it is, imagine the D&D world, like imagine the fantasy world, where you've got all these different realms of existence. You have you have your mortal realm, your material plane, but then you have the Feywild and the Underdark, and like you have the elemental planes and all the different ethereal planes, Mount Celestia and all that stuff. You have all those different realms. Imagine that those are all just layers of liquids that coexist within a single jar, but then separate into different layers based on density, right? Like if you have different density oils with waters and all that kind of stuff all mixed in there, and they all kind of separate into their separate layers. That's the natural state of how this world exists. About 2,000 years ago, there was an event called the Unhinging, in which someone took that jar and shook it up, or that's like essentially what happened. So you ended up with all of these like displaced chunks of different realms different chunks of one realm moving and resulting in being in another realm, and you have all these rips and tears and all this like displaced stuff, and it turned the world into complete and utter chaos. And the result was basically, as far as the mortal realm perspective goes, is that a whole bunch of horrible, dangerous monsters suddenly started appearing, as well as all these rips and tears in reality that caused this magical radiation to really impact, and ultimately all of it combined to make the world largely uninhabitable, except for in a handful of well-guarded cities. These are cities that just so happen to be well fortified, as well as being a significant enough distance away from any of the actual tears that they weren't largely impacted by most of the stuff that was happening. So that's kind of the world that we have, right? It's like it's 2,000 years later, so a lot of the stuff, like just like with those layers, layers of liquid, things are starting to percolate and re-separate, but it's a slow process. And so about 2,000 years later, it's happened enough that the world is safe enough for groups of adventurers to largely be able to start re-exploring this land and finding the cultures and the worlds that were lost, as well as reclaiming some areas and just generally starting to rebuild. That's kind of the state we're in, and I created this world, and I kind of came up with the idea to have that because I wanted a world in which we could facilitate exploration of forgotten areas, because to me that is just one of the most fascinating concepts. The concept of going into a jungle and finding a city that's just been gone and abandoned for ages. Places like Machu Picchu just absolutely fascinate me. The concept of a place that's completely forgotten and there's just this history waiting to be discovered just absolutely fascinates me. So I wanted a world that gave me an endless number of excuses to utilize that. And to this day, I still love it. Are the rifts still prominent? Are they able to be forcefully closed? Yes and yes. So they are. Some of them are starting to naturally close on their own, as happens over time. But there are still many of them throughout the world, which is one of the reasons why it's still very dangerous to go exploring. And whether or not they can be closed, yes, they absolutely can. And that's actually a big part of a lot of the campaigns that I'll write. Not all of them, but a lot of them will include, at the very least, as sort of like a side quest or a side option, or like an optional approach to solving whatever the bigger problem is. There will be ways for players to like research and learn how to close these tears so that they can, in essence, make the world safer. So there's actually that actually is a big part of what I'll incorporate into my games, including, and here's where players, if you're here, spoiler alerts, that's a big part of what is happening with the campaign that I'm writing for my players right now. So to narrow our focus a little bit into this campaign that we're working on, I try to do, like you see, I've got this honeycomb hex pattern going on here. I like to write, and this is how big this world is, and it's like boundless, and I will never run out of space to write whatever new ideas I have. I try to make it so that a single campaign takes place in just one of these hexes, and I like any given campaign to span from anywhere between 10 and 20 levels, right? So like the campaign that I'm writing right now for my players, it'll have a couple baked in, you know, conclusions based on what they want, like how long players want to run in this campaign. But I'm writing this campaign to span all the way up to level 20, and it will take place in one hex, because this is an entire world. This isn't a small continent, right? This is an entire world. So think about the size. You know, being an American, I think about things from like a state-sized perspective. Like one of these campaigns, like one of these hexes here, is like bigger than even like the state of Texas. So like it would be a really these are really big areas that can span a lot of ground, which gives us a lot of room for a lot of fun stuff. And host the sole purpose to find and close the rifts. The concept of rifts, we're at the very early stages of people going back out and exploring. So they are not well understood. And in fact, in many parts of the world, because everything is so isolated, in many parts of the world, there's still not really even an understanding that these rifts exist or what they are, like what the nature of them is. Basically, when this unhinging happened, anyone who was close enough to a rift was basically bombarded by so much magical radiation that if they survived, they are unrecognizable. They were unrecognizable as a creature. For example, in the campaign we've been writing here that takes place over here, there is a drow city, and what that city is, the way the drow came to be within this world, is they are elves that have been so twisted by the magic that they've completely changed into something else. And those that still live close to the rift that exists near their city are completely insane. And it's not a matter of like, oh, that's just a racial trait. No, they're just insane people. Yes, exactly, Orange. It's a very Pangea-esque type of place. The other thing about it here, so we have the gloomy coast over here, and it's more prominent over there. The idea is that going off in either direction, there's actually a lot more ocean than it appears on this globe. But part of the unhinging left the entire ocean covered in this mist. So anyone who's tried to go like and circumnavigate, they've just disappeared and they're gone. Any ships that were out there, gone. And like the idea is no one knows what's going on there, and I kind of leave that there. It's sort of a Forgotten Realms type of concept where it's like, if there's ever anything else that I need, I can do it out there. I have thought it would be really fun if like there was this area that was unaffected by that mist, but that area exists in its own like system of dotted islands that are all very Jurassic Park in nature. I've always thought that would be really fun, but I never fleshed that out. But yeah, there's a lot going on in this world. There's a lot going on in this world. But the state of things are, like I say, but when my players go out, like when the players go out and they encounter one of these rifts, it's not a matter of them going and being like, oh, this is one of those things. It's a matter of them going out and being like, what is this thing that we've just stumbled across? Like, that's the state that things are in right now. So there's not a strong understanding. There's ways for them to research and learn how to, be the ones to manage these things. But the timeline and where these things take place, no one's really gotten a firm grasp on really what happened with the unhinging. Like, basically, the world turned into a state of survive. Like, and that's all that people try to do. They try to survive because many of these cities are constantly bombarded by, hordes of monsters that aren't from the mortal realm, that are looking for this, that, or the other thing and find the city, right? Like, that's just kind of the state of things. So that's like the state of the world here. And the campaign that I'm writing, so that's like basically what's happening. We have the world starting to kind of calm down. Some of the areas are starting to close themselves, or some of the rifts are starting to close themselves up. Things are starting to calm down enough that people are able to start going, start going out on excursions. More of a what the hellness of an oh no. Yes, absolutely. The unhinging is not a cyclical thing. It's not something that just happens in this world. It was one big cataclysmic event that suddenly everyone was like, what the fuck is going on right now? Like, and mostly what happened is all of the smaller towns that exist in the world and like unfortified cities, just everyone died. They were killed by monsters. They were destroyed by the magical explosions. It just, everything exploded into nothing, and no one understands what happened or why it happened. And that's just the state of the world. I like to leave the unhinging as sort of an event version of the concept of Tom Bombadil, where even Tolkien was kind of like, yeah, I don't really know what Bombadil is. He's just kind of an anomaly. He's just kind of there. He exists. He's a mystery. And that's kind of how I view the unhinging. Like, I have some thoughts on, like, I've had thoughts on how you could, like, explain what happened and give an answer, but really, I just kind of like it as, like, something happened. Something went wrong. Something in space-time just went wrong. And no one really understands what or how it happened. It just, something went wrong. And it's a miracle anyone survived. And go running a campaign that had mist coming from the mountains once every, like, 70 years. Came hordes of artificial monsters. Yeah. Like, those types of ideas it's really interesting to me. I just like the idea of there being an unanswerable thing, too, in a lot of ways. I like the concept of something not necessarily having an answer, right? Like, I just think that's really fun. Like, it can be really frustrating from a player or from an investigator standpoint, but from just a writing standpoint, I like the idea of something being like, you know, we don't know. We don't know what happened. And that's kind of what the unhinging is. We don't know what happened. We just know what happened. Like, we know that it happened, and we knew that, like, after that happened, we were fucked, right? And that's just the state of the world. That's where our world exists right now. So I'm a very big fan of my world. Obviously, I mean, I guess that goes without saying, but I don't know. I guess there are plenty of people that don't have confidence in their own stuff. I love my world. I absolutely love my world, and I love sharing it with anyone that I can in any way, shape, or form. World's war-torn. Yeah. I mean, you know, and that's the thing, too, is it's like everyone's world is a different thing. And I think that that's good. I think it's awesome that all kinds of different people have all kinds of different ideas. That's what's so fun about it, and that's what's so fun about, like, D&D and having different DMs, and why I encourage my players anytime they want to try and write something and be a DM. I'm like, yeah, do it. I'll write up a character and I'll step to the side for a little bit, because I love the ideas that other people come up with. Because as much as I love my ideas, I'm only one person with only one set of ideas. So yeah, right. Oh my gosh, as a world builder, oh man, should have been here. You missed it when I was playing Quern, because like Myst. So Quern, if you're not familiar, Quern is it's kind of a spiritual successor to the Myst games, and Myst was actually my first inspiration to get into world building. I watched my sister play it when I was just a little kid, and I was so fascinated with the idea of a world existing within a book, and I was just kind of hooked on the concept. And so from then on, it's just been a hobby of mine. So at any rate, so this is the state of our world. Things are starting to recover, except for in one area of this world. We have up here called the Lost Lands. Now, what's going on in this world is, or in this part of the world is, while most of the world is recovering naturally, for some reason, that is not happening up here. Up here, it is just as dangerous as the first day. And the result of it is, there's this one city up here, the city of Rhodanos. All right, and in this city is 100% completely isolated. They have tried to send excursions out along the main trade route here to go back to the city of Bepimat, but anytime anyone goes out, either they are never heard from again, or they return missing like half their people, and everyone else like pooping their pants and crying, right? Like, this land is just not healing, and there's kind of a demarcation that kind of goes along here and separates. And from so basically Rhodanos believes that they're the only city left. They have not heard from anyone. No one has tried to reach them, as far as they can tell. Anyone who did, basically they did have people from Bepimat try to run up there, and it's been the same thing. Anyone who they reach a certain point, that they either come back or they're never heard from again. So both cities believe the other one to be dead. Rhodanos assumes that everyone else is gone, that they're the last stronghold of like sentient mortal life in the world, and everyone else believes that Rhodanos is just gone. They believe they're one of the cities that's been completely gone, and everyone just kind of writes off the Lost Lands. They're like, we're not going there. Like it's still not safe. There's no reason to go there. It's this like tundra Arctic. It's got a very Winterfell feel to it. Although I maintain that I did not copy it from Winterfell, not because I came up with it before R. Martin. He's way older than me. Like, he came up with it well before I came up with this stuff. But I came up with this idea in this environment long before I knew anything about Game of Thrones. So, but comparing it to Winterfell is a very convenient way to paint the picture for people. So it's this area that, like, it doesn't have much purpose to people. So most of the world has just kind of been like, all right, well, we'll just leave it. That's the world up there. It's busted. If it's going to stay that way, we'll just leave it there. And so people don't go up there, and it is what it is. And so the campaign takes place in Rhodanos, right? It's the city that is completely isolated. It thinks it's alone, and everyone else thinks that they're gone. So they are completely on their own. And that's basically the setting. I kind of need to edit this map a little bit if I want it to be completely accurate, because it's like a nice thick forest up here. The forest does come down further, and in fact the players will be doing some stuff in the forest, but it's much less dense. And so I don't know if just aesthetically it's necessary to do it, because this isn't meant to be like a hard and fast everything is exactly where it is. This is, medieval style mapping where it's like, oh yeah, if you go far enough north you run into some trees and stuff, and it's like, is the line up there? Is the line down there? Is the line way up there? Go north, you find trees. Good enough. But this is where it's taking place. And now we can pull up. This is sort of our entire region map, right? So we've got our city of Rhodanos, and we've got our entire region where this campaign takes place. You can kind of see, again, if we pull up our hex here, right? So we've got them here. The scale is a little wonky the way I've done it, but I'm not super worried about it. So we're going to leave it like that as it is for now. Because in reality, we could kind of have a little bit more space, and Rhodanos as a city could be a bit smaller, but again, it's not a to-scale map, it's a flavor map. Depends on who makes the map in the first place. Might not be tens of miles. Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, it's like, so I live in the state of Michigan, and if you look at old maps of Michigan, like some of the first ones ever made, like they had the shape of Michigan all wrong. Like they knew it was kind of mitten shaped, but like the thumb was entirely too small in some old maps. Like it kind of has like a little curve where it's like, to almost simulate having a wrist, whereas before they thought it was just like a sheer line, as opposed to kind of having the curve and the bump outs and stuff like that. That's just how old maps worked. So they didn't exactly have satellites and that level of exact GPS telemetry to figure stuff out. Well, hi, kitty. Welcome. Look at you going. You didn't even need to beg for a laugh to help you get up that time. My cat, hey everyone. Hello. Say hello. Say hello. There she is. She's decided to come grace us with her presence. My cat, just to explain my surprise, my wonderful cat Leela here has only one eye, so jumping on things is difficult because she doesn't have good depth perception. And so pretty typically speaking, when she wants to come up, she'll come over and beg, and I'll like kind of back out a little bit so she can jump on my lap. Because unless she can like see over what she's gonna jump, unless she can like see over to the top of it, she doesn't like jumping on things, because like she can't see how high it is. She can't see what's up there. It's a nerve-wracking thing for her. And so the desk is just a little too high for her typically. But look at you go. Miss Strong Independent Kitty doesn't need no second eye. Figuring it out on her own. So that's why I'm super excited for her. I know. Hi, sweetie. You're very sweet. I know you're being very sweet right now. It's if only the camera could see you a bit better. I wonder if I can, hold on, let me see if I can adjust the camera a little bit. I talk about it a lot. One of the eventual goals is to, here we go. Yeah, you can also see my mic, and you can see all the cat hair on my mic from where she rubs on the mic. Oh goodness, this cat is such a bird. I love her. One of my intended upgrades for my stream is to, alright, the camera's still not really doing much. Let me just get us back to where we were. One of my intended upgrades for my stream is to eventually, it looks pretty good, I guess. I don't know how zoomed in I was. I guess that's good, maybe. I don't know. I don't know how to do it right. Whatever. Good enough. Me. There. Yay. Okay, anyway. One of my intended upgrades is to eventually get a second cam, so that way I can set it up and adjust it so we can have a cat cam. Because she's way more popular than I am. Anyways, I'm sitting here obsessed with my cat. Monsters, typical monsters, first from other reigns. The amalgamation of a couple different realms into one creature. So I use the lore creatures, like the just like the classic D&D creatures and all that kind of stuff. And the idea is that most of the monsters come from other realms, or are weird warped versions of mortal realm creatures that have been like damaged and, you know, created into something else by the magical radiation. Is sort of the way the lore works. It's pretty loose form. Just kind of like, it's kind of the beauty of a homebrew world. It's kind of whatever I need it to be for the sake of telling the story that I want to tell. But generally speaking, it's like displaced or like mutated versions of mortal creatures is what the monsters are, typically speaking. There are different exceptions and stuff like that, and we might go like full Cronenberg for some things and have them be combinations. You are so sweet right now. I know, you are being very, very sweet. You are being very, very sweet. I'm not sure why she's being so sweet right now. I wish it were easier for you all to see, because she is so adorable. Wisconsin, looked at the maps. Oh yeah. Wisconsin's like a kind of a messed up place too, for sure. Oh god, I'm exposed. Shadow could become like a dark shadowy golem. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it could. I haven't done anything exactly like that, but yeah, it opens up the avenue. Just the lore itself and the setting opens up the avenue to get real creative with stuff, which is one of the reasons why I really love it. But that's like just a homebrew thing in general. You can really just do what you want. And a lot of times what I'll do is I will like take an existing stat block and then just like kind of reskin the enemy to make it fit the atmosphere that I want. I do that one a lot, to kind of be able to make the setting that I want to make. And that works out pretty well. It makes things interesting too, and it can kind of help limit metagaming a bit, because players won't know what to look up to try and like figure out what stat block this, that, or the other creature has. No, this isn't for you. This is my drink. You don't want it. You've tried that before and you weren't happy with the results. You don't like cherry pomegranate crystal light. It's not your favorite. I know, kitty. But yeah, so that's kind of my world, and this is the setting that our players are in. So we can see we've got our realm right here, and we can see it's very liquid catnip. It's my liquid catnip. I'm addicted to that crystal light stuff. It's amazing. It is amazing. Oh, kitty. So sweet. Hold on. It's just so sweet. Look at her tucking her little face in there. Oh, it's so cute. She's such a sweetie. I know it. Sorry, I'm a crazy cat lady. Anyways. Anywho. So this is our world. This is our setting. And so here's where like I need to do a lot more work on this, because we just started this campaign. We just started this one. This is a new one that we just started a couple weeks ago. And see ya. It's all done now. And so we're just getting started with this one. And I have a vague idea of what is going on in this campaign and what I want them to be chasing after and achieving. But I have a lot of unknowns still for how the campaign's going to run and what I want to do. And in fact, actually, grabbing the notebook here. I have some written notes that I'm going to pull out so I can sort of refer to them, of the general idea of what I want my players to achieve. But the basic principle of what's going on in this world in this campaign is they're living in this area where things are not recovering in the world like they should be. And so our players are the result is that the players are they're living in Rodanos, and where they have entered is Radanos as a city is kind of on its death throes right now. It's very close to becoming an extinct city because things are just not recovering and life is getting more and more difficult for them to survive. It is getting harder and harder for them to, provide crops within the city borders, right, for the people they have. So this is the city. This is like kind of a map of the city, right? So we've got the castle, we've got the city proper, and we got some farmlands all within this large wall that's been constructed as a barrier to keep them safe. But because the soil is getting used up, it's getting harder and harder to produce crops to feed the people, and they can't safely, go out because it's the wilds out there. There is all kinds of horrible creatures, just ready to consume them. So they're in this really dire situation. And one of the big issues is that they're at war with a growing tribe of gnolls that lives in the area and has been trying to take over the city. And so they're kind of in this, like, there's kind of these two edges to it where they need to figure out some way to keep the city surviving because they're maybe like 1 or 2 generations away from just not being able to sustain a society at all. Things are really dire. And so they need to figure something out, whether it's leaving, whether it's finding new ways to produce the food that they need, whether it's managing to expand their borders, like whatever it is, they need to do something. And our players are going to be part of that effort. The campaign has opened up with them being under siege, under attack from this Gnoll army. So that's kind of how we open things up, as our players are right now, they're in the city trying to help fend off this attack by Gnolls. And the next part of it is going to be them sort of managing this, like the Gnolls are basically going to leave them under siege, which doesn't do a whole lot because they don't leave anyway. But the constant threat of the Gnolls being able to come back in and do anything is obviously a bad thing. So that's kind of where this campaign starts off, and they have to deal with that situation. The other thing that I'm going to have this campaign do, though, is as they're going about solving these ones, they are going to uncover clues and start to understand the nature of these tears in reality, these rifts between realms. And it's going to kind of be added on to it that it's like, okay, like it'll be, they'll kind of gain the understanding, or the hope is they'll gain the understanding as they're going, that if they can manage these tears, if they can find a way to close them or to control what effects those are having, they can make the rest of the land a bit more hospitable for them. Let's see here. It's a coastal city. It's in the waters. Did they try that, or is it just too difficult to get wood from outside? The oceans are pretty much the same situation as the rest of the world. There are tears and rifts, and as ships try to go out, especially around in this area, they're just like, there are sea monsters ready to consume them. So these docks are actually kind of just derelict and useless at this point in time, because they have tried that as well, and they've lost most of their ships. They can get a little bit of fishing done right there by the coast, but as soon as they go into deeper waters, there's nothing going on for them. So that's kind of the situation. They're just a very isolated city. So that's the basic outline that I have for this campaign. But that's about it. And that's where, like, for me as a writer, it's been sort of frustrating. I've been kind of stuck with some blocks because I've been so busy in life. I haven't had the time to sit down and clear my head properly to work on this stuff. And so that's what I'm hoping, that I can spend some time working on this on stream when I know I've got a couple times a week, like these big chunks of time devoted to writing, that I want to start just making some progress on this, because I love this setting. I love the concept of what's going on in this world. And I want to plan it out. So basically, the way I want to approach this one is I want to develop a handful of key areas that players will identify and have to go do things in. One of them being the main Gnoll society, right, where all of their armies are staging and coming from. A couple of areas where there might be the tears and whatnot existing, as well as maybe a couple areas where they can gain some resources or gain some tools that will help them with all of their other stuff, including keeping the city alive. And so I kind of want to make this a sandboxy type of area and set those areas up for them to sort of make their way through and control, gain control of and all that kind of stuff. So, the gnolls are able to survive without the same type of defenses. Some way to ward the bigger dangers. They are part of the bigger dangers. The gnolls are part, like, in league with all of, like, not necessarily in league with the other larger creatures, but they are kind of the big danger that controls things. Like, that's what it is. Like, they're the ones that are in charge here. It's not like the humans or the humanoids, it's the gnolls. They're in charge of this region, and they're a big part of it. So there are big monsters and stuff like that, too. But the gnolls are populous enough that they're able to handle it better than the humans are, or the humanoids, is kind of the situation. So, taking out the gnolls is going to be quite the task. That sounds like a task for some real heroes, and all that kind of stuff. So those are the kinds of things that I want to plop around in here. But I haven't really thought about exactly what the pathway that the players will take is. Just turning the corner to see a glowing. Oh, they see monsters regularly leaving it. Yeah, I mean, kind of in some areas. There are other creatures that have a better understanding of these tears and are utilizing them. That's one of the challenges that players will have to figure out, is that they're at a disadvantage in a lot of ways. It's like, and it's one of those things where it's like a little convenient for everyone else to have a better understanding, but well, geez, if there's not a bigger threat, then there's not a game. So, so we've got some areas thought out. What I want to do here is I want to work on and try and, like, today I kind of want to just have a little bit clearer idea of exactly what all of the different important places for them to visit are going to be. And I've written down some ideas in just like a notebook here, and I'm going to go through the process of writing them into sort of the campaign system that we have here, as well as plotting them down in this version of the map, plotting down a few places, at the very least as placeholders that we can then modify. Because if I can have that sort of outline, then it's going to be a lot easier to then sort of move forward with planning out and putting in the details. Because once I know where all the steps are going to be, it's easier to drop in, like, clues about things way in the future, or like different branches and webs and connections and stuff, once I have the understanding of what the primary route is going to be. So I'm going to pull up my notebook here. So like the sections, and like I break my campaigns into like chapters, right? Where it's like each chapter is meant to be while the players are at like one given level. So chapter 1 is when they're at level 1, chapter 2 is when they're at level 2, so on and so forth, as a good way to kind of break it up and know how to like know where they're going to be. That doesn't mean that they can't be like earlier or behind that pace, but it's like that's how I design things, so that way we can make sure we're progressing at a pace that matches how players progress in their character development. And so with that in mind, like I put in placeholders for all of these, and I want to work on kind of getting these roughly outlined is what the hope is here. Get them roughly outlined. Yeah, you can go. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I totally understand that there are all kinds of other people. I do not worry about it. I appreciate you stopping by and hanging out as long as you did. Stop by again sometime. Let's see here. Abandoned mine area quarry that could supply for iron and stone. Yeah, things like that are some of the ideas. I had ideas for that. I've also had ideas for abandoned cities that have crops that are different than the ones that they're running, and so they can take those and use those to like transplant and provide more food and stuff, is another idea that I had that could be an interesting one. Like, they're unable to grow them because they don't have anything. It's like, how can you grow a pepper if you don't have a pepper, right? It's like, so I've thought about that type of stuff too, definitely, as a way to sort of mitigate those. There's another idea that I had And the other idea that I have is for there to be somewhere probably within the forest a society of creatures that are like neutral in everything that's going on. And my thought is to make it like a society of centaurs who are like, they're neutral about the wars happening between the humanoids and the gnolls, right? They kind of are like, they don't have any love for the humans, but they also don't. I'm saying humans, like, you know what I mean, humanoids, the humans and elves and stuff. It's a pretty diverse city because everyone who lived in the greater area fled to Rhodanos to try and survive. So all of the cities are pretty diverse because of that, because everyone just kind of fled to the nearest fortified city. At any rate, like the centaurs hold no love for the gnolls or the humans. But yeah, exactly. They just kind of want to do their own thing. They managed to survive pretty well. So they don't really care about the world. They're very shamanistic, and they're just kind of like, the world is what the world is. Ours isn't to manipulate. Ours is to survive. But my thought is that, like, if players could, like, approach them with evidence about, you know, with these rifts and things being non-natural, with them being shamanistic, they might be able to say, like, okay, you're right, this is unnatural. We'll help you in this, that, or the other way, and they can sort of help the players learn some stuff, you know, maybe with like some prophecies and stuff like that, are some of the ideas that I've got floating. So I gotta refresh myself of what I had going on here. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff here. Well, I know I want the centaurs here. I think what I want to do is I want to plot down. Let's start off by plotting down the things that I know that I want to have existing in this world. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to save, let's say I want to do, there's got to be a way to save as, because what I want to do is I want to create a second version of this, because I want to make sure that, like, any given map, because what I like doing is providing for my players maps and then, like, having more things appear as they, like, explore and discover things, because I don't want the map to give away what exists in this world. But I want them to also have a map that they can kind of use to navigate and plot things. So I gotta remember, yeah, here we go, save as. What we're gonna do is we're gonna go here, and I'm just gonna save this as E4. We're just gonna call this one the working map, and this will be the one that I can edit and modify all that I need to. So if we create a separate instance of this, we do that. That'll make it so I can really just kind of muck around in here. So I do want to create the centaurs. I know I want them in there. So I'm going to go ahead and just add something like that. Let's go to our symbols here. And let's clear out. I want them to be kind of up here. Let's clear out a little bit of space here. And let's put like a placeholder object. That can be kind of our centaurs. Find something that looks kind of tent-like or something like that. Lots of assets, still not the one that I want. I know there's like some tent type of assets that we can plop down. This isn't the worst. Here we go. This is what I was thinking of. They're a little pretty big. Just scale it down a little bit. I don't want these to be huge. I want the scale to still present the image of the whole area being pretty big still. I mean, Rhodanos is a pretty big city, but we can kind of plop those guys right up there. There's our centaurs, and what I think I'm gonna do also is we're gonna add some labels to these things. The idea is that this working map can eventually become the final map. So I'll go ahead and label things. Pop that in here. We'll do centaurs. I might rename that later, but we gotta put that. We gotta go with Bilbo. Why I would ever choose a font other than Bilbo for this is beyond me. But I mean, just listen to that title. It's Bilbo, and then we'll just kind of put that right there. So there's their centaurs. Where did he get a centaur? We'll do that. I'm gonna put a couple of those trees back. This is, nope, give me that. Yeah, this is the one that we're using. And if I can find this tree in here somewhere, I can match the size exactly. So But this is pretty close enough. Definitely the size that we're... Actually, maybe we will make that just a little bit smaller. If we do that, there. Or right there. There we go. So there's our centaurs kind of tucked away in their little grove of trees right there. I think that works. That looks good. So I know I want them there. I also know that I want, that we need the gnoll. We need at least, like, we need definitely one big, like, prime gnoll, city, as well as probably a couple outskirt cities, because they are definitely the most, prolific creatures in this area right now. So again, thematically, I kind of... this one's going to be tough. Because if I want it to be a city, I want it to kind of look like that with the buildings and stuff. But the gnolls are definitely going to be much more rough and tumble in how their cities are set up. Like, they're definitely just, like, living in tents and shanties and stuff. But I don't think I have a good, like, cluster of tents object in this collection here. Probably someone's probably made one, but yeah, they would probably be there. The centaurs, I like to imagine that they're, like, shamanistic and magical enough that they don't need to be near a river. The other thing about it, too, is, like, these are major rivers. There's definitely going to be more smaller networks of smaller rivers. This is still a pretty zoomed out view. But you have a good point, and it's something that that's, like, helpful to remember when plotting, like, a city versus anything else, is, like, near a river would make sense. The kind of the beauty of, like, doing like fantasy settings is you can kind of play fast and loose with those types of things. So I'm not too worried about it, but I did imagine that the gnolls would be kind of like their main city maybe up in here, and they've got a few other, like, small side areas here. Because the other thing that we can do is we can plot down various, like, bodies of water, like small ponds and lakes and stuff like that, that would serve as far as the gnolls care about, because they're pretty animalistic. They just kind of, like, drink when they're thirsty, you know, straight from the tap concept. We could do that, but I do like the idea of there being, like, a gnoll city, maybe we tucked right up in here. And so what we can do is we can kind of plop down a few of them, and that actually looks pretty rough and tumble enough to look like a gnoll city. So we'll go ahead and let's get a label here. Do it right down there. Gnoll capital. Capital. There we go. The gnoll capital. The capit gnoll, if you will. Ha. There it is. Nailed it. Do the gnoll capital right there. So I know I want that. So that's good. I also know that I need to go to the bathroom. So I'm going to go do that before I pee myself here. I'll be back in just a couple minutes. Not even that. I appreciate your patience. I'll be right back very shortly. All right. Appreciate your patience. My bladder appreciates it as well. All right. Okay, so we've got a null capital. We've got our centaurs there. Those are good. There's okay. So here's. Ooh, you know it would be really fun. Okay, here's something that I want to do. I'm just looking at the map the way I've got this here. Something that I think would be a really fun thing to do is if we were to plot some sort of important temple or something on this island so that players will need to somehow navigate through the waters. They'll have to somehow navigate getting over the waters there, like this dangerous area, right? Is something that they'll need to figure out to get there. Although I don't like that symbol there. I like the idea, but that symbol is bothering me. For some reason, it's not right there. That's not the right one. I'll find the right one, though. I almost need it to be more decrepit. Like, oh, like this. Shrink it down just a little bit more. Boom, like that. There we go. We'll go ahead and do the label here. Do old temple. This will be renamed at some point in time, I'm sure. Something like this will definitely deserve its own proper title. Oops, did not mean to do. Oops, nope. Just stop. There we go. So I want an old temple kind of up there. I think that'll work really well. That'll be a really interesting thing. And in fact, actually, when I'm thinking about it, I kind of like the idea when I'm thinking about just like story beats, a way to plop this in here. So my thought is that the centaurs, because of them being very magical, very shamanistic, my thought is that they are going to, like I say, they're going to be the ones that will help the players find the tools necessary to close down the rifts and start the healing of this land. They can kind of get that. They can kind of be a good springboard for that type of stuff, the centaurs can. And so my thought is that perhaps they'll have like knowledge of ancient prophecies that will tell of like them needing this, that, or the other object. And those will, and like that will help lead the players to some of these other areas where they can find some of these other things that they need. So it's like there's one right there, and my thought is you could maybe do a couple. So if we do one that's like right there, and then maybe one that's just deeper into the woods or something, maybe that one's a little closer, and that's the first one that they can find to make it a little bit easier, right? Because as the campaign goes on, if there's one thing I've learned from every game system ever created is that as the game system goes on, the danger goes up, right? And the distance gets further and further away from where you are. That's just proper game design right there. I mean, come on now. So, but I like that idea. I kind of like the idea of plopping another little temple up in there. So let's go get some symbols here. Let's clear out. Wanted to kind of. It's not gonna let me grab just a whole bunch of them. Frustratingly, would have been a lot easier if I could just grab a whole bunch of them all at once. But that's okay. Let's clear this little area out here. And then let's go ahead and grab another. Maybe we can go ahead and go with like our Stonehenge. Maybe that one's. Actually, you know what? I'm going to save that one. I know exactly what I want to use that one for. We'll use this little temple here. We'll do that one. So there's like, it's another temple, or maybe it's just a city that had a church or something like that, or a city that had a good mage that would have had the right items. Something like that. Because my thought is that the centaurs can. Or we can give them the convenient plot device of them, like, knowing the ancient prophecies or something like that. That, like, hyper-convenient thing where it's like, I don't have an explanation for why this would exist or why things would be this way, so I'm just gonna, like, say it's an old prophecy and call it good. It's lazy writing, but I'm not a professional writer, so here we are. Let's see here. We'll do another old temple. Right there. There we go. And then we'll go back to our symbols. Get our trees going again here. Guys here just to fill it back out. Ooh, up there. That's yeah, it'll do. It'll do. This is not going to be the final draft that we're working on exactly right now. I mean, like, eventually this will be the final draft, but we don't need a final draft by the end of the day today. That's the other beauty about these types of projects. This is all just self-motivated. You know, the only deadline is I got to make sure I've got enough stuff for our next session, which we do. So I'm not too worried about much else. But so we've got a couple old temples. I wanted to do those. As far as the gnolls go, so we've got the gnoll capital there. I want to put just a couple gnoll outposts, which will be pretty easy. Kind of have some ideas on where I want those to be placed. Those are just kind of, you know, your chip shot gimme sessions or story beats. So we can put one right there for a gnoll outpost city. And then we can maybe put one down here by this old road, like they're going to use that themselves. If we put those right there, we can have just a couple of gnoll cities. So we've got the gnoll capital. And now we'll do gnoll outpost. We'll just call them outposts. Sounds more militant that way, and that's kind of how our players are going to be perceiving them. So we'll do a gnoll outpost. There we go. And then we've got to do another gnoll outpost. Gnoll outpost. Curvature the other way. Oop. Oop. There we go. Couple gnoll outposts. See how many people I can annoy in the matter of 5 minutes by saying gnoll repeatedly. Everything's going well. So yeah, so we've got that. So there's kind of some basic ideas for the centaurs and for the gnolls. What other ideas did I had? Hold on, let me check my notebook here. Oh yeah, okay, so there's an important thing that also I wanted to do, and that's that I want there to be a strong presence of some elemental creatures kind of deeper in this woods. And they're kind of like early stages of it, but generally speaking in cahoots with the gnolls, having some elementals, and that adds some really interesting things because we have some players that have chosen like Genasi, right? So they're like, you know, really into having elemental magic and stuff. So like as more stuff comes to light, it's gonna be really fun to see them like awkwardly try to understand if they're involved with this and or explain that they're not involved in all the horrible things happening. Oh man, I love being the DM. I can screw with my players so hard when I have all this like insider knowledge about what's going on. I love it. Absolutely love it. All right, but yeah, I do want to add some stuff like that. And so what I want to do is I'm going to, let's go ahead and go with our, oops, nope, I was in the right one, symbols again. Let's just clear out a space up here for now. That can serve our purposes here. Nope, come on, delete it. There we go. And my thought is, this is a big area, and back in the day there would have been some very, very large cities. So my thought is I'm gonna go back up to some of our, wait, hold on, where are the, there we go, there's the whited out versions. So we've got, so this is where we can start using like these other things. This is a really good one. But I want to put like some old rundown castles, because like the idea is that they can go to some ancient cities that other creatures have taken up residence in. So if we do one right there, I want this one to be, let me clear a bit more of this out for our label. So then we'll go ahead and grab our label maker here. We'll do elementals. We'll just do that for now. The placeholder title. Because what I'll eventually do is I'll eventually name the city as it would have been named on the map. So that way, like, they can pull up old maps from within the archives of Rhodanos or something like that. And they can use that as a way to like sort of find out information about like how to get to some of these places. But what I want to do also with this one is if we're going to be sort of adding this here, I'm going to clear out a bit of a pathway here. Because this would have been, I'm gonna clear out a bit more, we can fill it in more. I just don't want the pathway to be like straight as an arrow because it's boring and not aesthetically pleasing. Doesn't matter how realistic it is, I just want it to look pretty. That's, golly, isn't that just the state of the world these days? I don't care whether it's realistic or not. I want it to look pretty, okay? I don't care that we have to airbrush the crap out of this model to sell more jeans. I want it to look prettier than is even humanly possible. I don't care about realism. That's the state of it nowadays, isn't it? That's a little, sorry, I got a little soapboxy there. John, this is like the 7th time in a row you've come in right when I'm in the middle of the rant. I swear, you have a rant radar, a rant dar, if you will, for when I'm just kind of going off the rails. I'm commenting on how I don't care how realistic my map is. I want it to look pretty. Which is why we're not going to have, super straight roads. It's like they would never bother trying to keep the roads straight. We'll just do like the single dots here, and I'm gonna make a pathway that goes from here to here. And then, hold on, we gotta make sure this, there we go, see if we connect it right there. Oh, shoot, I did it wrong. Wait, hold on, we can backspace it. There we go, I gotta press the right button. Boom, look at that. It's almost perfectly spaced. Look at that. Aha! Like I say, we gotta make it look pretty. Good rant. You like that one? My criticism on the materialistic nature of modern day humans, desiring that people be inhumanly pretty for the sake of us having, you know, prettier movie stars and impossible standards to hold ourselves to. You can see the headlines now. Unknown streamer makes waves by calling out the obvious. Nobody cares. No more at 11 because nobody cares. Alright, see, now the trick is with these pathways to like put in the occasionally like strategically placed tree so you can still kind of see the pathway poking through. You can kind of know that there's a pathway. I think I might have overdone it on this one. I think I might need to clear out. What if we, hold on, we're gonna get this. Yeah, but see, that's like, it's too empty. It's too empty now. It's too empty. I really screwed the pooch on that one. But if we do that, there we go. That's a little less too empty. If we do that, see, we can kind of see our pathway going through. Maybe we put one more right there. And then if we, see, now the hard part is I need like a particularly short tree to maybe put right there. Kind of fill this area in. We can put like one more right there. And so there we can kind of see our pathway going up. There. Now, like, it kind of gives the impression of it being kind of like an overgrown pathway. And now I just need to like fill in this area as well. Because, like, the fun part about it is, like, even though, again, like, abandoning some realism for the sake of having it look pretty, even though, realistically, they wouldn't have drawn the map like this, if we can, like, with what I'm about to say in mind, if we can make it look overgrown and unkempt, it will sort of send the, it will kind of plant that vision in players' heads, right, that this place is kind of worn down and overgrown with wildlife at this point. There we go. So we do that, and then just to make it a bit more obvious, let's get rid of this guy here. Oh, get rid of that guy. There we go. That looks okay. I like that. It's about sending a message. Thank you. See, you get it. I also appreciate that you have the same penchant for me, same penchant as me, I should say, for quoting movies to get your point across. I discuss all the time with people I know in real life that I wish it were more acceptable for me to just like quote movies when I'm trying to say something, because I do that anyway, and mostly people look at me like I'm a weirdo, and I wish it was easier for me to just like quote things and get my message across that way. Because it's like, if Brad Pitt already said it right, like if he already said it better, why would I bother trying to reiterate? Don't reinvent the wheel. Like if George Clooney nailed the line, then god damn it, I'm gonna do it. Like, jeez. Yeah, thank you. Movie quotes are awesome. Same with TV quotes. Sorry, I'm just like displeased with how my forest is shaping up at the moment. I need to do a few other things here. I just want to make this look a bit better. But yeah, it's like movies, TV, music. Oh, I quote songs all the time. Like all that stuff. All quote-worthy stuff. Like I say, if someone's already said it right, why would I bother trying to reiterate it? That just sounds like a lot of pointless work. Alright, so there we go. The centaurs, I'm actually going to close this off. The centaurs would choose to not have a direct pathway to them. Like, there would be an understanding. Like, my idea with the centaurs, too, is that, like, the people of Rhodanos are aware that the centaurs exist out there. They just haven't bothered to, like, they don't go out there because they know that the centaurs want their privacy and don't want them there. And so it's like, that'll be kind of a fun mission for players to have to undertake, is like how to approach these people that are like unapproachable. I want this tree gone. I don't like that. I don't like this tree either. I don't like it. Make it go away. So there we go. That's a bit better. Just, you know, just trying to make everything aesthetically pleasing here. There we go. That's more like it. We need one more tree right there. There. It's a dense forest. I don't want this to look like super duper, you know, thin. Just like, oh, there's one magical tree. Like, no, forget that. So we can do that one. I want one more city that would have had elementals. Although the one thing that I want to do here, so the temple is its own thing. It's like a magical thing. We don't need to worry about it. I do want to, just to make it more visually interesting. Again, making it pretty. Although this is also, like, make it pretty. This also constitutes as make it more realistic. Go with our water brush here. And I'm going to paint in a little bit of a water thing here. Like a lake. And then what we can do is we can take a river. Check this out. Check this out. Wait, hold on a second. I'm not sure of. I don't know where that river ends. But maybe what we can do here is, like, check this out. Hold up. I'm going to just do following the contours a bit to make it a bit thicker. What we can do is we can run another river here. Boom, like that. And then just to, oh shoot, it's gonna, got it. We can just kind of run another, yeah, see, it's gonna make it awkward. There we go, we can kind of, oh, I still don't like it. I'll figure it out. Don't worry. There we go. There's like a river that feeds into it. It turns into a big body of water and then moves down. So there we go. And it just kind of goes through the forest. And it's there. So if anyone decides to go full paper mill and just raise the trees down, just cut them all down. There we go. It's like, there was a river there all along. I want to put one more area with the elementals, and I kind of want to put it in here. So let me go to our symbols here. Clean out a few more of these buggers here. Don't eat them. Don't want them, and I don't eat them. strong, independent map maker that doesn't need no trees. Stupid way to butcher that quote. It wasn't even worth it. It wasn't even a good butchering of it. It was just butchering. I was just taking a hacksaw and destroying a better quote. God. Anyways. Oh lordy. One of these haven't we used yet? Oh, here we go. We can use like Stonehenge for this one. Perfect. I like to imagine that the Stonehenge area is kind of like, that would be a good place to put one of those rifts and everything. Because it's just kind of like it's got sort of that air of mystery ritual about it, you know what I mean? Jesus. Their long trunks are, I mean, nice kind of in their own way aesthetically, but not what I'm looking for right now. Shoot, I forgot to leave room for the label. Let's do it up top. Do it up top this time just to mix it up. Because ain't nobody gonna tell me what to do. Alright, do you like how adversarial I get for no reason? It's like, don't tell me what to do, and everyone's sitting there like, we weren't. Like, my god. Like, this guy's insane. Which I say, like I said, it was only a matter of time. I just, you know, if we can avoid expediting the process, it's a bit better. But, you know, maybe it isn't better. Maybe it is better for everyone to know exactly how, you know, exactly what they're getting into when they're entering a conversation with me. There we go. Alright, there's our elementals. We got those areas there. And then what I was thinking is we can then, for, you know, we talked about those other areas where they might be able to find, why can't I think of words today? What is wrong with my brain? My brain is not working. I said it in the beginning. I was just having a day, and boy, oh boy, I am proving it right now. My brain is not firing on all cylinders right now. That is for damn sure. That is for ding dong sure. Yes, I want to plot down a few cities where the players can find the resources, kind of like we were talking about earlier, where it's like that can be an important part of it, is them trying to discover where some of these resources might have gotten to. Expecting stuff to change, yeah. Boy, oh boy. It's, you know, I like to think that I'm pretty good at adapting, but I feel like we all probably have our moments of insanity in life, right? Where it's like you recognize that it's not going to amount to anything, but you still keep trying because, god damn it, you just hope that maybe you're wrong. I feel like we all have those periods in our lives. Let's see here. So I want to just plop down a couple ghost towns. I think I'm just going to title them ghost towns. I want to put like one right up there on that coast, one right on that coast, and then we'll have a couple villages that are just like ghost town villages over here. Might just put like a lake or something in between any of them, because those can be useful. Quarry, mines for iron metal, overground lumber mill, those wood collection. Yeah, we could put like a city. Like I imagine each of those, like any type of settlement would have access to like one of those resources that would have been like their function early on. So it's like we can put down, maybe we can plop down a city here, and maybe there's like a coastal area that like had some cliffs or something that could be good for like the quarry for the stone or something like that. Do something like that, or maybe mines that way. Kind of like over here, maybe there's some hills with some good mines for stuff. Yeah. There's a lot of options. I mean, one of these two, actually, when we're doing the coastal, we can just flat out say, yeah, they were fishing villages. There's some really good equipment that might help them, improve the fisheries and get some better, get some better fishing going. Like hell, who knows? We'll put like one right there, and I'm just gonna for now, because like I said, we're just kind of working on placeholders and giving myself an idea about stuff. We're just gonna do, ghost town. That's where all the ghosts live. Ghost town. They're in constant rivalry with Zombie Village. Those jerks. The ghost town is much better at running because they don't have friction, because they're just ghosts. They just float. But Zombie Town is definitely superior when it comes to soccer, because they can actually kick the ball. It's very slow going. It's still low scoring games, but the ghosts just don't have a chance. You know, like they don't have feet. They can't kick. Really kind of sad. Please don't bring it up if you see them. They're very self-conscious about it. So, stupid joke. How many times can he beat this horse until he recognizes that it is indeed dead? 9 out of 11 for the unexciting answer. Alright, we can put like a little town right down here too. Boom, right there. Another ghost town. Give him a text. Boom. Post. Turn. Shibbity-boo. Shibbity-boo-boo. Shibbity-boo. So yeah, we got a couple ghost town there. How many locations do we have in general? You know what? Okay, I'm gonna do something here. I'm going to hold on. Yeah. Let's see. How do I? Okay, wait. Hold on. I want to get rid of that body of water. Here we go. Let's erase it. I don't like it. I don't like the way it looks. We can just like theater of the mind say that there's a body of water there. It just doesn't. It's not looking like I want it to look. It's frustrating me. I don't like it. Take my river tool here. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Gosh dang it. Why is this not letting me select anything? Okay, fine. We'll just undo that one at least. Just fade in with this. Oh, that's cool. That's stylistic. Not what I need, but it's cool. All right. Anyway, sorry. I want to grab this river. Why will it not let me grab this river? I don't understand. Is the grabber tool just not working, or I don't understand. The grabber tool just doesn't look like it's working at all. Alright. Oh, okay, we can just like erase the river then. Don't want an artifact sitting around there, you know what I mean? I'm not actually using it then. There we go. Alright, get rid of all that stuff. I don't want that there. I don't want that stinky river there. We'll just theater of the mind and assume there's like a pond or a lake anywhere there's a civilization. Today, Junior. What's that one from? Is that Billy Madison? Another good movie quote. I think that's a Billy Madison one. No, you know what? No. It wasn't that. It was it from that was from 8 Crazy Nights. It was Adam Sandler, but it was like 8 Crazy Nights, wasn't it? There was the one kid that had the stutter. I think that was what it was. I don't know. It's unimportant. It'll bother me, but it's unimportant, so I'll move on for the sake of everyone else. Let's see. Labels. Or no, wait. No, we want symbols. Oops. I'm doing this all wrong. Symbols. Thank you. We want to pop down. We're just going to do like 1 or 2 other villages here. We can put one right there. And just to make sure that they don't look too exactly, too identical, you can just kind of like pile a few extra buildings on from a distance that looks okay. Although actually I don't like how overlapped I've made some of these. Can we? No, we can't. What if we go like that? There we go. That looks pretty okay. New another town. Another ghost town. Ghost town. Post. Oh. And then I do want to put down one more. Well, what are we at right now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 places, 12 if we count Rodanos. And we can take a couple things there. So we need like 20 functional places for like the campaign to take place. Then we can reuse some of these. Oh, excuse me. We can reuse some of these, and one of the ideas I have is like some of these places, like maybe one of the tools is that like that they get from the centaurs to help close these things is that it will help them go into the rifts and the tears and all that kind of stuff. And that would have been at one point an important factor for all of them to or rather like, well, yeah, like there's like if there's a tool that helps them go through the rift, then they can use that as a way to like that's part of closing it, and so it's like you can have an alternate Shadow Realm version of all of the maps or something like that. Would be kind of an interesting way to mix it up. The problem with that is I don't want to rely on that gimmick for all of them, because then it'll just kind of get repetitive if it's all like, all right, now it's the second time we do this dungeon. Oh man. Sorry, I shouldn't talk when I yawn. Don't work very well. Let's get some more paths going here. So like for some of these areas here, we can just sort of plant them as they would have previously been. Oops. Yeah, there we go. So what I actually think this would be kind of like is if we work our way along the coast there, because then we'll also have our Danos connection. Sounds like a book or something. The Radanos connection. Da Vinci Code. Yeah, if we do it right there. Perfect. That works. I was making some likely pathways that would have existed for a lot of these places. Oh shoot, I did one wrong thing though. Want to... I don't know if it'll let me. Alright, well hold on, I gotta remake it then. Because I want it to end at the wall. And actually, you know what I should do with it? Well, no, we'll start and end it from our wall here. I was thinking that like it should end from over there. But I actually don't think that makes a whole lot of sense, because the wall would have been erected for the sake of defending from creatures of the unhinging. So, oh shoot, I messed up. There we go. There it is. Oh, beautiful. See, it's still pretty. But yeah, so it's like they wouldn't have made the pathways to these cities would just like kind of left the city in the most convenient way. Oh, excuse me. Still Yanni McShawnee over here. Well, my name's not Sean. Oh shoot. Can't undo. Try again. We end it right there. There we go. Looks like it goes into the city. That's fine. Yeah, I don't want to have like the Null capital or the Null outpost or anything like that have any direct pathways. With the rest of it, I don't think they would do that. Let's go on Lucifer. Lucifer's here. Lucifer SHW. It's going well. Going well. Same old, same old. Working on some campaign stuff here. Hopefully all is well with you as well. Let's see. The Null outposts are new. They wouldn't be connected to the main pathways, but they would have pathways connecting themselves to like each other here. So I think go ahead and do one right there. I think they would also probably have one that just kind of follows our river here. That they can like there, there we go, there, and there. Oh, there we go again. Oh, I'm sorry, so sorry, so rude of me. And then maybe this last one, just to kind of keep things a little interesting, is it'll cross over here at like the narrow, like sooner area, and then finish the pathway there. So it looks kind of like a uterus. It wasn't intentional, but we're gonna leave it. because I don't want to change it for that. It's a silly, immature reason to change it. I mean, it was already silly and immature for me to even bring it up, so here we are. That's good. In theory, there would kind of be a pathway to lead up to the Centaurs, but I kind of want that to be sort of an unknown thing for the players, at least early on. So that's good. I like that. Okay, I like this. I like where this is going right now. It's a little on the busy side, but I don't think it's terrible. Let's see here. Where do you learn to play D&D? Oh boy. I don't know that there's a right or wrong answer to that one. I think the best thing that you can do is get your hands on a player handbook and find a group that'll play with you, whether it's a group of friends and you all learn together, or a group that's willing to let you join with them. I think the best way to learn is just dive in and do it. You gotta find a group and then go for it. And that's kind of how I ended up learning. Is I was interested in it, and so I found a group of people that were like, "Oh yeah, we have a game. We're willing to let you join us," and I did. And that's just and thus the legend was born. No, not really. I don't know if I'd call it a legend. Are you coming up, kitty? Want to come up? No, don't just rub my leg. Do you want to come up? Kitty, come here. Come on. You can do it. There you go. That's a good girl. I know. Hi, kitty. Yeah, exactly. You will learn by playing. That's the best way to describe it. Hi, kitty. Do you want to join me on my lap? Okay. Yeah, bump the microphone. Yeah, very good. There you go. Make everyone go deaf. Very good. Well done. Cat. I know. I love you very much, but I'm gonna make fun of you when you do ridiculous things. I know. I know, kitty. You meow loud enough, everyone will hear you. Everyone already loves you more than me. Say hi. There she is again. Second time joining me today. I know. Hi, sweetie. There we go. Yeah, scheduling and finding a DM are difficult. If you're playing with a group of people that are all learning together, then finding the DM is going to be difficult. The best way to do it is to get your hands on the beginner's kit and then have one person willing to serve as the DM, because everything will be kind of pre-written and made for you. So all you got to do is play. You don't have to have anyone like world building or anything. And yeah, scheduling is difficult. Scheduling will forever be the issue, which okay, I'm gonna go ahead and let myself be on a soapbox here. I'm just gonna say it. Scheduling shouldn't ever be an issue, right? Because how many people have zero issues making sure that they schedule time properly to watch the game every Saturday, right? Whatever sport they like, watch the game every Saturday or every Friday night or whenever it is. How many people are able to make the time to do that, right? Most everyone is willing to do that. If Wednesday night was Game of Thrones night, you better friggin' believe that back when in the heyday of that show, everybody was making time that once per week to do it, right? And so everyone's got time during the week to play. And the other reason why there should never be an excuse to not play is because we can play online now. So it doesn't even require people leave their homes. Everyone can be the shut-in that they want to be nowadays. And I'm saying this a little critically, but as someone who also very much enjoys having his alone time and will avoid going out, often, the flip side of it is, like, that's in regards to, like, when someone's all like, oh, I'm having this, we have this work after work function, right, with your coworkers. I hate that kind of stuff. But when it comes to things like D&D with my friends, there is no reason to not figure out when to play a game. There's no reason not to, right? Like, scheduling can still be an issue, but everyone can devote 2 hours during a weekday. Almost everyone can do that, 2 hours after dinner to log on and play online on Roll20 or whatever. So, but that's my little soapbox. That's me being cranky about that stuff. But I always have a hard time believing when people say that they can't find time. I think for most people it's that they're unwilling to find time once they understand how much of a time commitment D&D can turn into. I always feel like that's kind of a bit more to the point. But you know, that's just my 2 cents, and no one asked me, so I'm Kermit sipping the tea, right? But that's none of my business. Yeah, I don't know. I just think in general, friends need to be better at making time for each other. Like I think that's just something that I've noticed in the world, and maybe that's just because I'm, you know, like I have historically. I'm you know, in caveat, just in case any of them are listening. I feel like right now I have a very good group of friends that do make time for each other. But I have spent a lot of time in my life amongst friends that don't make time for each other. And it's frustrating, you know, people wonder why they feel so disconnected. People wonder why they're, you know, depressed and lonely all the time. It's like, well, because no one makes time. Like, I feel like a lot of people don't make the effort to, you know, actually spend time with each other. You know, it's like, ask anyone what they're doing on any given Thursday night, and they're like, I don't know, probably at home watching TV. But then you ask someone, hey, you wanna come over to my place every Thursday and play board games or play video games or whatever? And they're like, I don't know, that's in the middle of the week, that's kind of hard. I just don't know if I can commit to that kind of it's like, what, man? Like, you know, it's like, play online. You don't have to go anywhere. You can do pretty much exactly what you're doing. You just do it with a microphone on to talk with your friends. I don't know. Anyway, I digress. Hardcore on that one, I'll tell you what. But yeah, it's just, you know, be better friends to each other. Be better friends to each other. And yeah, I don't know, to kind of bring it back to the original question. Oops. Oh no, I did not mean to do that. Oh my goodness gracious, what is happening to my life right now? Oh man, I better have saved that. Why did it close that? I'm gonna have lost so much work there. I think it just crashed. I think the map just crashed. I think that specific one just crashed. I could cry right now. Oh, that's so much work gone. It's just gone. That hurts a little. That's what I get. I know better. I know better than to not save more frequently than that. I know better. Oh my gosh, I feel like such a dummy. I'm such a dummy. That's on me. I've got no one to blame. That's 100% on my. That's 100% on me. 100% on me. That's all right. Okay, I do know where some of these things were going here. Let's go ahead and just like clear out some spaces. We can just kind of crash course our way through it here. We had one thing going right there. We had the centaur stuff there. We had let's make ourselves a little space. We had a little temple kind of organized to go in here. We had one little we had one place kind of tucked up in this corner here. I really want you to we had that one. We had our okay, we don't need to delete anything because we had null there, city, temple. Okay, we can make this quickly again. That's the good news about this situation, is because we've already gone through the process of conceptualizing where we want things. Now we just got to remember where it is, and just putting the symbols back in place much quicker and easier. Much quicker and easier. So we had, whoa, that's a little big. That one right there. Also, that's what she said. Hey, got him. So we had that right there. We want to put that, like, maybe put that one right there. Oh, we need a tent for the centaurs. Oh, there was one more thing up in there, too. Up in there. Y'all gonna make me lose my map. Up in here. Okay, let's see here. We put that right there. We put that there. Wait, why is my chat monitor saying welcome to the chat? Am I live right now? Is everything good right now? I hope I'm live right now. It's gonna be real awkward if I'm not. Oh my gosh, everything just exploded. Okay, we're live. Good. It's everything just said. It just kind of exploded all at once there. I don't know what's going on, man. Good lord. Okay. Chat's just being weird. Because my chat box reset itself, and usually that means that, like, the whole stream reset itself, and usually that means I was dead for a period. Not, like, physiologically dead. Like, I didn't die. I'm not undead, I promise. I promise. Although, then again, like, the last thing I would admit to if I were undead is being undead. The point is, I'm not undead, I promise. It's just the dead air. You know, that type of situation. So, you know. Anyway, I don't know what I'm babbling about anymore. I barely ever know what I'm born half dead, half alive. Exactly. Exactly. Half dead, half alive. My emotional state right now. Womp womp. Laugh track. Stupid. Yeah, so we need to plop down a couple of small villages. Okay, we got a fishing village there. We got a little village right there. I don't like that one right there though. I don't like it. But I actually would kind of like. There we go. If we put that one right there, that looks a bit more appropriate, logical, intentional. Like I know kind of what I'm doing. I want to move that one village that we had kind of like a bit further down, just so the map feels maybe a little less top heavy. Maybe the same thing with some of these knoll villages here. Let's put like a little knoll village right there. Let's see, we had one knoll village that was kind of here. Like up in these trees here. That was going to be the knoll capital. So maybe I should make this one a bit fuller and bigger. That's what she said. Man, oh man, she said a lot of things this time around, didn't she? I'm quoting her left and right. There we go. A little crowded. Can't maybe thin it out if we take care of that one. I guess if we do that, that looks okay. There's our knoll village there. Let's see, we need another knoll. Knoll. But a little populous for a knoll outpost. Come on, there we go. We do like that. That looks okay. There we go. I like that. All right. That looks okay. We need to grab. Ooh. Where's the stuff that I was? Here we go. Stonehenge. We gotta put Stonehenge here. Let's rotate it. There we go. Boom. Stonehenge. And then there was another like kind of rundown castle one that I was using. One go up there. A little bit bigger. Oh, never mind. That's a good size right there. Boom, there we go. Bada bing, bada bing, bada boom. Okay, so there's all of our stuff that was in place. Beans. I gotta do all the labels and stuff again. You know, I'm not gonna worry about the labels right now. Oh, no, I do need the labels because I need to be able to remember what all these things were for. Oh, I'm so needy. Alright, centaurs. Where'd he get a centaur? That Bilbo. Got a bit of a curve. Centaur's got. Oh, I actually want that a little less curve. That's a bit more. That's a bit easier on the eyes, right? So we got that. Boom. Ghost town. Oh, go ghost town. Ghost town. Just a little off kilter. There we go, just like that. We've got Old Temple. Kitty, I see you there. You have started your frequent departures and returns. Is that because you're getting hungry and you want to beg for food? Are you gonna come up? You can come up. Watch, she's gonna hang out here, meow at me 3 times, rub against the mic, and then run away. I guarantee it. I know. Yeah, there you go. I know. See, there's a meow. There's the meow. There's the pacing. We're gonna lay. Oh wow, she threw an audible. She's gonna lay down. She's gonna lay down. But she's gonna lay down. She's laid down so that her foot is touching the mouse, and now she's gonna get really mad and swat at my hand when I move the mouse. Cause she's a turd. Hold temple. I'm gonna have to adjust some of our symbols a little bit for these, but I'm gonna get all of our labels first, and then we'll clean up our tree stuff a little bit here. Ghost town. There. Post town. Yeah, there we go. Ghost town. Other way. There we go. Kind of match it a little bit there. Ba-boom, ba-boom. I know. Hi, kitty. You're very cute. I'm not feeding you yet. She knows that once I'm done streaming, she gets her dinner. And so she, like, once she starts getting hungry, she comes over and starts, like, bothering me to try and, like, get me to stand up and stop streaming early so I'll feed her earlier. She's such a little turd. I love her so much. Knoll. Outpost. You know what else I'm gonna do? While I'm just kind of thinking about it and while we're here doing this, I'm gonna freaking save! Make sure that doesn't happen again. Good lord. Can you imagine if that happened a second time? I might cry. I might cry on stream. I haven't done that yet, but I might do it. It might happen. If I had lost everything, I might do it again. Or not again for the first time. I've never cried on stream. You haven't seen it. I almost cried last Friday when I accidentally offed my entire vault in Fallout. I still maintain that I made the right choice on that one, though. That was a typo. A blatant and horrible one at that. So, Knoll Capital. Go. Boom. Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. I bet you there's already a bound key to it. Yeah, Control S. Boom. Saved. Boom, saved just for, you know, posterity. There we go. I have no memory of this place. That's fair. It's a new place. It makes sense that you would have no memory of it. This is the first time I've worked on this place on stream. Unless you're referring to the irony of saving everything and losing everything, in which case, yeah, well, you know. The computer has no memory. It does now. It does now. I'm making sure of it. Save. See, look at that. I tried to save too much, and it was like, no, we're already saving. Let's see here. We need elementals. Hold on. Oh my goodness gracious. Elementals. There we go. Hidden in there. Kitty, what are you doing? We also have some mentals in there. Put that right there. There we go. Followed me some time ago. Well, hey, you know what? That right there is just a sign. That's just a sign that you're meant to be here worshiping me and all of my glory because fate has led you here multiple times. Oh God, man, can you imagine? Can you imagine being that? Like, I don't know if I'd be able to walk if my head was that big. Like, I don't think it would work. I think I'd have to just, like, crawl and drag myself everywhere. Kitty, you are clearly winding up. This cat is clearly winding up to attack my... Yeah, you better get out of here. No attacking my hand. Oh, now you're going to be all sweet about it. She's going to pretend she's like, oh, no, I love you. I'm all sweet. I'm not being a pain in the butt because I'm hungry. I'm all sweet and I love you and I want to be on your lap. Oh, my goodness. I see right through you. I know your games. I know your games, cat. I know what you're after. Cats only want one thing. And it's fucking disgusting. Alright, anyway. Okay, so there's those. 5 extra wheel. Carrots to carry. Yeah, right, seriously. I'm gonna carry, just like lopside it down and carry it around in a wheelbarrow. Oh boy. Kitty, kitty, kitty. Kitty, kitty, kitty. All right. Let's see. I need to. Okay, now we need to handle our trees a little bit better here. Let's clean some of this up just a little bit here. And then we have to clear out. Man, oh man. I didn't even think about it. We spent so much time trying to get the path to look good going through the forest, and it's all gone. All gone. Oh no. Ah. Oh, it's sad. Oh, don't give me that look. Cat's judging me. Animals are the worst. Alright, anyway. We need to... That. Put those ones. I guess that one can stay, because we'll add in a few more to thicken that area up there. Clear out just a little bit so we can fit in our label there. And we'll add some more trees back in. This one, maybe we'll just get rid of that one, but we can add those trees back in. That's good. Okay, I think that's good. What's up, kitty? I know. It's the air conditioner. It's the air conditioner. Turn on. It's very loud. There's nothing I can do about it. Please don't claw my lap. Please, for the love of God, do not claw my lap to hell. We've tried clipping her nails before, and she refuses to let it happen. Okay. I like to think about cats as being like like when you're watching a cartoon, right? And there's the bumbling king, and it's actually the king's aide that like keeps the kingdom afloat. You know what I mean? Like, you know that trope where it's like the king thinks that they're in charge, but they're really a bumbling fool, and it's their assistants that keep things running. That's what the relationship with cats and humans is. Cats think they're in charge, and they act like it, but if it weren't for the humans, like, pulling the paper bag off their head that they got stuck in, cats would be useless. Like, that's how I view it. Like, they do, like, very much live a life of they do what they want. And that's part of what makes them so hilarious to me. But yeah, cats have more confidence in their abilities than they should. Because cats are definitely bumbling oafs. Quite often. They bumble. They, sometimes they are graceful and sleek and clever, and other times they bumble. That's all there is to it. Alright, let's see, we gotta thicken this area of forest up a little bit here. I had also added a little bit up here. There we go. I actually kind of like that. Forest going a bit thicker there. I just forget that when you're in Wonder... So I use WonderDraft and I use Dungeon Draft a lot. Those are the two mapping softwares that I use frequently. And I always forget that WonderDraft, this big, larger map editing software, has things like the ability to drag and place many images all at once that Dungeon Draft just doesn't have. Which is fair, because dungeons need to be a bit more attentively designed, because then you're worried about, like, you know, spacings for like objects and like how big they are and all that kind of stuff, and you just don't have those same concerns when you're making a larger map. But anyway, digression. Stop giving me the ones with the big giant tree stems. Those don't fill in space very well. Okay, okay, so now we just gotta like reconstruct our pathways, I think. That's the last thing that we need to do to then get back to where we left off. But I'm gonna do that after I go to the bathroom. I've been keeping myself very hydrated because as soon as I'm done streaming, I gotta go get my afternoon workout in, and then after that I have to be back so I can run D&D. So I'm gonna be going, and because I do so much physical activity in the afternoons, I keep very hydrated. The side result is it means I gotta pee a lot. So I appreciate your patience. I'm sorry for the number of potty breaks I take. I do my best to keep them short, and I will do the same for this one. I'll be right back, and then we will finish. Getting back to where we were in this map 20 minutes ago. I'm such an idiot. All right, I'll be right back. And back. Okay. Appreciate your patience, as always. My bladder appreciates it. My bladder appreciates that it hasn't blown up. You know. It would be a bad thing. It might be interesting entertainment, but I could really only pull that one off once on stream because then I'd be dead. So, okay, let's not. I guess I won't overcommit there. I will likely die if my bladder explodes, on stream. It's they do a lot of amazing things with modern medicine, but I guess what I'm saying is I'm not willing to take that chance. Yeah, I mean, there have been times in life when maybe, but like right now I'm genuinely a pretty happy dude, and so I kind of want to keep just doing that and being like happy and enjoying my life. Oops. Yeah, actually, get it so that the dot size is kind of matched up here. Okay, I think that's. Oh yeah, there we go. Oh yeah. Oh, look at how well those dots line up. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh shoot, we got an extra thing going on there. Where'd that extra little nubbin come from? Dang it, I goofed. No. Oh, oh, no, back. No. Hold on. What is that extra little nubbin right there? You see that extra little nubbin right there? It's not part of the path. What is that? Hold on, first off, before I mess with this anymore, save. Where'd you come from? If I delete this, does it go away? It does go away. Okay, it was part of that thing. All right, well then it was worth it because I didn't want to see that there. Not want that nubbin there. Also, probably should stop using the word nubbin so many times in like one sentence. Oh, it feels like it's a little on the awkward side. Oh, shoot. Oh, no. Ah, I did it again. I keep getting my mouse buttons confused. Guys, I've clearly been on stream for nearly 4 hours, and my brain is turning to mush. I apologize for all of the awkward and stupid things that I am continually doing at this stage. Although maybe that's more fun for people to watch, just me being a dope. Like I won't judge. I get it. Like how many times have I caught myself just sitting around watching stupid people hurt themselves on short, like, TikTok length YouTube videos and stuff. Like I get it. So, hopefully my dumbassery is pleasant experience for everyone else. That's the, like, if I'm gonna be like, just acting a fool anyway, even when I'm not trying to, we might as well make sure that someone gets some good enjoyment out of it. You know what I mean? Like that just seems only right. Alright, so this pathway is gonna go along Harold's Run. Hey, look! Apparently, what I'm learning here, look, it's Harold. We already used the name Harold while writing stuff today. And I wasn't even thinking about the fact that I named this river Harold's Run, which tells me that I really need to work on my creativity when I'm naming things. Like if I'm dipping to the Harold well multiple times, without like in separate areas too. It's like, it's one thing if it's just like that name is on the brain, throughout the day. Like sure, that happens. We all kind of end up, getting our heads stuck in a loop. It happens. But the fact that I've come up with it separately, maybe I just need to like let go of the name Harold and try to add in like a Steve or whatever to the mix. Oh shoot. There we go. Look at that. I remember my key presses. Ha ha. I can learn. It just takes a few times. Also, save. Try and get rid of my progress now, you foolish computer. I am the one in charge. Okay, anyway. Okay. Got some null outposts. Stupid. Everything I say is just... like, I don't know what I'm saying. Like, I hope no one ever thinks that my stuff is scripted, because boy, oh boy. I have just the stupidest scriptwriter if that were the case. Alright, goes out of that ghost town. I'm gonna have a pathway that goes from Danos down to the ghost town. Hold on. Can we make the dots line up? Tune in this week for me. I'm gonna be able to do it. All right, it's gonna have a lopsided dot. It's gonna have a lopsided dot. Unfortunately, you know what? No, it's not. You know what? We can do better than that. We can do better than that. We will do better than that. God darn it. I'm gonna not like swear too much. I don't really know why, because I don't have a problem with it. I don't know. Oops. Thing again. Delete that. It just like, I don't know. It feels so. It feels uncreative to swear a lot. I guess that's what I'm trying to say here. Because swearing is too easy. Right? Coming up with unique, fun exclamations or insults or what have you that don't rely on a curse word is more fun, is what I'll say. Like, it's more creative. You can come up with more interesting and fun and goofy insults. Oh, I didn't want to do that. And I try to live that life. I try to live my most creative life if I can. That's just me though. That's just me. I'm a little kooky. I don't know. Alright, is this the right size? One bigger. Yeah, that's the right size. Okay. One was just going up here. Oh, that's that. Now that lines up pretty okay. That one lined up pretty okay. Gonna, now, not to toot my own horn, but beep beep. I'm gonna make so many of these like arrogant comments that eventually it's just gonna actually be who I am. I'm just gonna be some self-centered, conceited prick. One of these days, it's gonna stop being a joke, and I'm just gonna be like, this guy's just really narcissistic. How much long am I gonna be on? What time is it right now? I got maybe about a half hour left in me before I gotta go do other stuff. So raids are welcome, but it will be kind of a short time. Yeah, I'm gonna say if there's someone who's gonna be on longer, they might make more use of it. But that said, I mean, like, I'm not gonna turn anyone away. It's not like the door is shutting. Why would I put it right there? That makes no sense. What a dumb placement I just did. What a stupid thing I just did. How could I be so stupid? Alright, there we go. I like it. Hold on. Line up the dots. Line up the dots. Find a way to line up the dots. You know what else I could be doing here? I keep trying to, like, with these ones, line it up there, but I could just, like, just kind of the convenience of the... Yeah, there we go. That looks okay. I don't like that these are separate, though. I need to... Can we, like, just edit the points? Yeah, we can edit the points. Why haven't I been doing this the whole time? Oh, gosh, that was stupid of me. That was stupid. How could I be this stupid? Hold on. Wait for it. Wait for it. Go blop. If we go like blop. There we go. There we go. That looks okay. That's kind of a sensible way to do the pathways a little bit. A little bit. Alright, now we're going to make a pathway going here. Oh, wow, that one got weird. Hold on. We can edit the point. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to edit the point. Put that right there. Grab it. Gotta grab this one. Yoink and yoink. There we go. There we go. I really wish I could... I wonder if I can... Sort of like... Yeah, it keeps adding crinkles there. I don't like that it keeps doing that. I was gonna try and smooth out the crinkles, but it just kind of makes it even more crinkly when I grab to edit the point. So we're just gonna leave it where it is right now. I think that'll work out well. I wanted to have it just kind of follow the contour of the coast a little bit better, but... Beggars and choosers and all that, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. Are we there? Are we back where we left off? We're back where we left off. Okay, save. Save. There we go. We're back where we left off. Learn from my screw up. Save a lot. Like a lot. Don't be the dummy like I was. Yeah, okay. That's good. That's all good as it is. So, what do we have here? Let's take some stock here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11, 12 if we include our city. 12 places. Which should, in theory, mean we're good to go if we let 8 of them be doubled up and have like 2 missions or 2 story beats happen at them. I think we're gonna have 2 centauric. That one doesn't really roll off the tongue. Trying to get a fun word bond going on there. We're gonna get like 2 going there. I could see, so some of these elemental places I was thinking to do a couple visits there. Oh, you know what? There's 1 or 2 other things that I wanted to do. So there's inherently going to be a nature of like the elementals, these areas up here. There's going to be like a rift in there. And I'll probably plot that out. I'm not going to do it yet because I don't know if I want each to have like their own tear or one of them to have an actual tear, or if it's going to be its own separate place like in between the two. We were going to do that, and I did want to put in, I'm going to just put in a symbol here. Let me just find something that'll look kind of okay to represent the interplanar tear that's going on here. Because if we can plop one right there, it'll be kind of convenient because they'll eventually visit that. They won't have a reason to walk out further, but it's kind of going to be one of those things like in plain sight. My thought process being that will sort of like lend itself to explaining a bit to the players about why coming and going has been so difficult and perhaps why people leave, because there's an active tear right there that people have been getting trapped in and stuck with and all that kind of stuff. What am I looking for? I know what I'm looking for. Why haven't I seen it? Why do I keep missing it? There's a couple symbols that I'm interested. Yeah, here we go. The one. Plop this guy down. I kind of want to put it like, I want to just put it like right here. And then we'll go ahead and put a label. I'll put a label. Planar hair. I'm gonna plop one of those bad boys down in there. So that's good. And I kind of want to, yeah, you know what? I do kind of, I'm gonna go ahead and commit. Yeah, I'm gonna commit to plopping one of these guys down. It'll be kind of bunched up there, but that's okay. I'm gonna put another tear up in here, up in here. Y'all gonna make me lose my tear up in here, up in here. Y'all gonna make me act a monster up in here, up in here. You guys think I should like pursue a musical career? I'd be a good singer. Using what I was just saying as like a reference point, because it's pretty good. Pretty on top of it right there. Planar here. I'm just saying, I don't know. Yeah, like I say, I'll try to avoid tooting my own horn too much here, but like sometimes when you're just like singing a part and you nail it, you know, right? Like you just know you nailed it, and like that's kind of where I'm at right now. I just kind of know that I was top of that one, and now I'm just, what was I saying earlier about horses and how many times you should beat them and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. Wait, what am I talking about? No one knows what I'm talking about. I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. Where am I? What's happening? There we go. The weirdest rant. That's the rant that you should come in on, John. That's the one right there. Because even I don't understand what's going on with that one. That was just a whole lot of babbling right there. I just know that it's not good practice to let there be like dead air. So I try to revive it even when it really should just be left to die. Anyway, how are all of you doing? That's stupid. What a horrible bit. I'm working on my tight 5 for the comedy club. To, you know, rate my stand-up on a scale of 1 to 4 crickets. How awkward was that? With 3 crickets being the most awkward, 4 being the least awkward, and 1 and 2 just being arbitrary, useless numbers. Put your answers in the chat. You guys like that? Like, I'm demonstrating that I clearly really only care about my own amusement when I'm here too. Like, I'm really not that concerned with my jokes actually being funny. 100% here just to amuse myself. And give myself a good time. It's what she said. And I'm gonna try to strategically place a couple more trees to, like, you know, like I've mentioned before, kind of make it look like it's a bit more overgrown. Stuff like that. Make it a little less obvious that I cleared a pathway for this pathway. There, see, now you can kind of see the pathway, but now it looks pretty overgrown and stuff, right? Right? There we go. Okay. Man, I'm getting punchy. You can tell I'm kind of getting tired. Not like tired of you guys or anything, just, you know, tired. Existentially. Ready for the sweet release of non-existence. I need to edit those a little bit here. Oh, don't stop. Makes it really hard to, like... Actually, you know, I take it back. That tree actually looks pretty good right there. Golly, it just turned out okay. I'm at the point with this map now where I've, if it's not evident, I have really slipped into perfectionist mode here, where I'm really just kind of going for the sake of making it everything look exactly as I want it now. It has stopped being about what's necessary and started to be about how I want this thing to look. I kind of want this to be like the pathway, of course, kind of continues then here a little bit further. Kind of encompassing this knoll capital. They're kind of like half buried there. There we go. Hey, I actually really like where this just went. Hey, would you look at that? I kind of like my map a lot better right now. Ooh. Oh. I remember to save it that time. Alright, been the most useless past like 5 or 10 minutes of commentary ever. There we go. That's great. Okay, we have how many areas? Let's actually be productive with what I'm saying right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 with the city of Rhodanos, which means we need 6 that will have at least, like, we need 6 repeats. And that's actually kind of easy because I know we've already got 1 repeat in Rhodanos, and I think we're going to have like 2 or 3 repeats. I'm talking about like chapters and story beats, right? I like each area to kind of have its own chapter, so that way each one has like proper attention. Like if I'm going to make my players travel to an area, I want it to be worth their time. So I make sure there's like an entire chapter's worth of stuff. I call it a chapter, an entire player level, right? So like an entire, you know, up to level 19 to level 20, you know, amount of stuff to do at any given area. Because if we're gonna like have their characters traveling, because I don't have travel be free. It's not just like, yeah, you go to that place, it's 3 days later. It's like, no, there's like when they're going through, I've established how dangerous this world is. So I like to kind of make sure that that traveling is a dangerous thing, you know, and so because of that, I like to also make sure that it's worth the time spent kind of going through all of that stuff for players as they're traveling, right? So it's like I like there to be plenty to do when they arrive. I don't know that I actually like that, spreading those trees out a little bit. I think that almost makes it look a little too cluttered. I don't know. What do you guys think? Is that too much going on if I kind of fill in a few extra trees just for the sake of scenery? I feel like that's a little too much going on right there. If I just kind of up that around, but I don't know. If people disagree, maybe I'll leave it. Poll in the comments, except not because it's not actually. It looks off, yeah. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Because it like, it makes it look like I was trying to make it look busy, right? It looks like I was trying, as opposed to just like adding in you know, what would have actually been in the map. Wow, I can really only undo that many times? Good lord. Okay, fine. We'll do it the hard way. Good lord, my Atlanta. But yeah, it did kind of have that look of like try hard stuff going on there, and I try to avoid that if I can. Just kind of winging it. That's kind of how you, like, for me at least, it's how I've just sort of learned how to make maps and stuff anyway, is just kind of trying things and experimenting, and then if I like it, I keep it. If I don't like it, I don't keep it. And, you know, the world spins. North is north, south is south. But yeah, we tried something. It didn't work out. So we're going to untry it. Those there. Okay. There. Now I think that looks okay. I think that looks okay now. Yeah, it's, I guess I agree. It's much better. It's much better this way. If anything, I feel like I would add, if they had a better one, I guess we could kind of do this. Yeah, but see, it doesn't, I wish I could do it in like an area and have it do, because I was going to say, kind of throw in some like grasslands type stuff, but the fact that it makes you do it in a line just kind of makes it weird. So I'm not into it. Not into it. Alright, I think it's fine as it is. I think it's fine as it is. I need to stop trying to over-engineer this thing and call it a map and say, it looks darn good. Looks darn good, like a repaired pair of socks. How's that reference? Does anyone understand what the hell I was saying when I say that? So, like, grass token. Yeah, well, that's what I was kind of, like, fussing with. Like, I would call that, like, the closest it comes to grass. But it doesn't really have a grass one. Increase placement density. Gonna put multiple at once. I don't know. Let's see what it does. See, let's make it bigger so we can actually see what's happening. No, it still does a line that just puts more items in that area. I mean, we could just like color it in and make it look fieldy, but I don't know. I just don't feel like it needs it. You know what I mean? I wish yeah, like I wish I could modify the like what I wish I could do. Wait, what if we do spray brush? Oh, wait a minute, hold up, we might have something here. We might be onto something. Undo. Hold up. Okay, hold on, just to make sure. Save. Okay, let's get that placement density down. Bada bing, bada boom. Yeah, let's make it even less. I want this to just like be an open field type of thing. I don't want it to look like super, but if we just like, oh geez, okay, we got to make sure it's not on the thing. That might be a little too much. I might need to do just a few little patches. Undo. But if we just do kind of like some patches, if we just kind of go like swath, patch, oops, nope, undo. Just like patch like that. Like kind of do something like that maybe. Because I think having some empty areas is going to be okay. Because otherwise it's going to look a little too polka dot. But like, what if we, hold on, maybe I did even too much there. Maybe if we just undo. Oops, oh, redo that one. What if we just kind of go like bloop, 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 bloop. Oops. Gotta be careful about that water. We don't want grass floating in the water. Bloop. Bloop, 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 bloop. Maybe we connect that area. I don't know. What do you think about that? How's that looking? Who has strong opinions on this? Kind of like that. I feel like I did a little too much. I feel like I took it a little too far that time. But I feel like we're getting close. I feel like we're getting real close here. Delete that one, delete that one. Yeah, we're definitely getting close, but we still haven't quite nailed it down yet. I think one thing that'll help is if I avoid, if I can avoid, okay, yeah, we'll move that back in a minute. If I can avoid these pre-existing things, I actually think it'll look better if I put it just in the empty spaces that are open. We do this. Let's actually even get the placement density down even more, I think. So like if I can just like, you know, kind of dot some of our spaces here. That's not too terrible. I think maybe what I can do also is I can just like thin it out a little bit more just to make it look a bit more like randomly placed maybe. I want to avoid it looks a bit big. Okay, all right, that's Mocha stepping in. Hold on, let's undo. Oh shoot, we're gonna have to do it the hard way as always. We're gonna get this right. We have, like I say, we've entered the realm of perfectionism, but you know what? If you're gonna do something, you might as well do it right. That's what I always say when I'm trying to justify the amount of time I spend on an arbitrary detail that no one but me will notice. All right, yeah, good thought. Let's see here. Drop that symbol scale down. See, one little patch always looks good, but once I start doing more, it looks a little polka dot. So I think that's what I gotta change. I think I gotta make it less frequent. I think less is more in this situation is what I think kind of the big thing that I'm noticing is. Like if I come over, let's see, so if we start off like up here, we go like that, then maybe if we plop one right there, maybe let myself do like one or two just like right there, maybe one like right there, maybe over there, just to add a little zhuzh in there. I think this is the closest so far. Maybe if we put one right there so it looks like kind of a field that goes over there. I think this is the closest so far, because it adds just a little bit, right? Just a little tiny bit without being too much, I think. Like, it's not distracting, it's just pleasing. It makes it look a little less like it's just a big open field. I think it's good. I think it's at least good enough to leave right now, and then when we come back, if we decide we need to change it again, we can do that. Because I'm looking at the time, and it is getting about time for me to save and call it a stream, because I gotta go get my afternoon workout in. I gotta keep up with my training routines and all that kind of stuff. It's not even that I gotta keep up with my training routine. It's just that Mondays are the one day a week. I've got a small window of time when I'm able to go do rock climbing. And I love rock climbing. I love going bouldering at the bouldering gyms around where I live. But it's difficult for me to find time to go out there because 5 nights a week I'm at the kickboxing gym helping to coach. And like, you know, I also have D&D games and I have all kinds of other stuff. So I gotta go and get myself going. Anyone with empty space or simply unexported. Well, that's the thing about it too, is like, you know, this is gonna be the final version. Remember, the player map is going to look much more empty because a lot of these areas will be filled in. Because what I'll do is at any given chapter, depending on what places players have been to, I'm going to make versions where once I map out and know what the order that they're going to go in, we'll like have like one area show up at a time so I can give them like a new version so it'll look more and more filled up. So that'll be another fun part of it, is they'll get the chance to see the map filling up. So, but good. I appreciate the feedback. I appreciate you guys' help. But yeah, I gotta get going. I finally have the chance to do a little bit of rock climbing today. So, gosh dang it, I'm gonna do it because I love doing it. And that's just, it's like for all my jokes about narcissism, it's definitely like good to do things for yourself every now and then. And that's one thing that I do for me. So, well, thank you. I appreciate you guys too. Let me go ahead and do my sign off here. Tell you all about all the other ways you can find me. Well, first off, thank you so much for everyone who stopped by. Really good crowd, really interactive, makes it a whole lot of fun. I always say if I wanted to just write without people interacting and hearing other people's ideas, I wouldn't stream it. Like, it's so much fun to share ideas with people. I love hearing things that people come up with. I love helping to answer questions and stuff that people have. So it's a really good stream. I appreciate you guys being such an awesome audience. I feel really lucky that my audiences have always been super awesome. It means a lot to me. But let's see here. As far as other streams when you can catch me this week, my usual streaming schedule is Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time Zone to 3:30 p.m. Mondays and Thursdays are when I do writing, and then Tuesdays and Fridays I do video games. That said, tomorrow, Tuesday this week, I will not be here. My day job, the one that actually pays the bills, I have to be out at some meetings for that one all day. It's going to be a long day. I'm actually not looking forward to it. But I have to be out doing that, so I will not be here tomorrow. But I should be back Thursday and Friday, as well as I'm starting to try and mix in the occasional evening. So if you want to see me at other times, just keep an eye out on for alerts, and sometimes I go live. The ways you can stay connected, I've got my Discord server. Everyone's welcome. I put announcements when I'm going live there. I have a Twitter at EnviroStreams. I put announcements when I'm going live there as well, so you can follow those as well as just get notifications on Twitch, whatever works best for you. All or none of them, it's your choice. But you can stay connected those ways. A few other things, I've got my Instagram, EnviroBoy Streams. I tend to put non-stream related things to on that one. It's a fun place to just kind of share. Like I'll get videos of myself rock climbing from time to time. So it's like I'll put those up there. So if that's of interest to you, follow me there. I also have my YouTube channel, EnviroBoy. I put all of my VODs up there, so if you want to see other things that I've written, if you want to see the games that I played and all that kind of stuff, all my VODs are there. I try to keep them organized. I'm not the best at that, but I try. But they are all there for you to enjoy, so check me out there. And then the other one, too, I still need to, find time to just update my channel, infos and my bots and everything. But I have a TikTok now. And I've been putting stream clips there, so if you want to just see some of the goofier moments or some of the more interesting moments that happen during any given stream, you can find me, EnviroBoy, on TikTok. So that's, so any of those, if you want to just watch me struggle to understand social media, because my inherent habit is to not do social media until I started streaming and looking for ways to interact with people, and I do love interacting with people outside of the stream too. Before I did that, I never really used social media. I had a Facebook and I haven't posted on that one, and it's getting close to we're kind of at the point where I haven't done anything with Facebook for the better part of a decade. So I don't know what I'm doing with social media, but come watch me bumble around and struggle with it. If that's your thing. If it's not, then don't do it. But I think that's all I got. I think those are all my announcements. Talked about where you can find me. Talked about when you can find me. And all that kind of stuff. So I guess all that's left is for me to just, again, say thank you. I appreciate you guys. This was a good time. It's always a good time. It always lifts my mood when I have the chance to stream and when I get to be on these streams. So thank you for joining me. Take care of yourselves. Hopefully I will see you later this week. Like I say, not tomorrow, but later this week. So until then, take care of yourselves. I'll catch you cats on the flip side.